emotions. We've had all the pomp and circumstance. We've had all the fuss and feathers. But it's time. It's time for Dodger baseball.
Goosebumps, Diesel, regardless of if you are a diehard baseball fan, a Dodgers fan, or just someone who casually follows the game, you get goosebumps hearing that, hearing Vin Scully, even if you hate the Los Angeles Dodgers like I do and many Braves fans do. It is time for baseball. MLB Opening Day is here. I know a lot of you Braves fans out there are excited, eager, maybe optimistic. I don't know. You should be, for at least for a couple of days until the L's start to stack up. But welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. It is MLB Opening Day. Good to see so many of you already in the stream where you can watch the show live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We're going to get into that. You heard Vin Scully, one of the best ever, if not the best ever, just a few minutes ago. But before we get into that, Diesel, you deserve a lot of credit for holding the fort down yesterday.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you do.
It was, it was
on last minute notice.
It was about 20 minutes before the show started. Our boss walks into my office and says, "Hey, Cole can't be here. He was in a car accident. You're riding solo. Handle it." Oh, okay.
What was your reaction when he said that?
It's like,
okay.
Okay, I don't even have the first segment planned. Let's go from there. Let's figure out what we're going to talk about in the first segment of the show. Cole, my wife knows this about me. You are about to know this about me, and all the Tolos are as well. The feeling that I hate most in this business and this job is feeling unprepared.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, that is unprepared smacking you in the face.
It is, because you didn't know.
Yeah.
You didn't have time to prepare to do a show solo. If you would have known, like when you and I go on vacation, you and I both know you get to, stack
it's
the
coming.
deck. Yeah, you get to put plenty of meat on the pad or on the burger, right? Put plenty of ammunition
on the Spartan burger, as they say.
On the Spartan burger, but you didn't have time to do that. So
No.
I say hats off to you yesterday for not only riding solo, but for doing it at the last minute.
Well, the
That's
question
called
is,
being ready when the pitching coach calls your name.
were you listening to Wire while you were waiting on the police officer to arrive at the scene?
It's a good question. I was not,
Oh.
because I didn't need to. I'll tell you why. Because at 3:01 or 3:02 yesterday, I looked at my phone and I said, "Oh, Diesel must have just said something about me getting in a wreck," because bzz, 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 bzz. I mean, for solid 60 seconds. Bzz, bzz, are you okay? And I appreciate all of those who texted me. I had people who saw me, and I don't know if they honked the horn and laughed and made fun of me or not.
Driving down the road?
Yeah, like, oh, look, Cole's not, at the radio station because he's right there on the side of the road. But I do appreciate all the text I got.
JD, how did you know, JD? I was thinking about this, what you're texting in. It says Madcraft said he saw you, and had he known it was you, he would have told you, you can't park there.
That's a good trend.
I just saw that trend video the other day of somebody who does that at car accidents.
By the way, Madcraft, Mad Therapy, whatever his name is now, he did see me, because later on he texted me and said, "Dang, bro, I didn't know that was you." So here's what happened yesterday. By the way, do you want to know the best part? You want to know the best part, Diesel and the Tolos out there? The best part is the guy who hit me yesterday, super nice guy. I'm not going to give his name, obviously, but the guy who hit me yesterday, very, very nice guy, was checking on me, make sure I was good. The best part is, though, he listens to the show. Listens to the station. And here's the best part.
Well, he better become a Tolo now.
Yeah, right. I had my Fan Upstate hat on. So here's how it happened. Here's how it unfolded. Got hit. We both pulled over in the post office. If you know where the post office is on Highway 9 in Bowling Springs, pulled in there. And obviously the guy who hit me checked on me, made sure I was okay, right? And after that, he asked me, he said, "You work for the Fan Upstate?" because he saw my hat. And I said, "Yeah." He said, "What's your name?" So I told him my name. He said, "Oh." Yeah, I listen. He listens to the station.
And by the way, your take about XYZ is wrong.
So that's what I told him. I told him, as him and I were waiting on the cop to get there that took like 4 hours, I said, "Look, we're going to turn this into, on air, an angry listener hated me so much and hated my takes that he just said, screw it, I'll wreck him. I'll hit him."
Hey, rubbin's racing, as they say.
So it was it was a good wreck. He got me good, right? He got me good. Obviously, I told him, look, things happen. I wasn't mad. I was okay. He was glad I was okay. We were all just glad I was okay, right? But seriously, though, thanks to the Tolos and those of you who reached out to me and texted me when as soon as you said something, Diesel, my phone blew up, and I appreciate that very, very much. Appreciate you running solo. Also, here's a cool feature I did not know existed. And Tolos, let me know if you knew about this on the stream. Also on the text line, the Hub City Spartanburgers text line at 844-326-3663. Diesel, when I got hit yesterday, hard impact. Obviously, I yelled and a bad word, right, when it happened. By the time I was turning into the post office, my phone automatically called 911. Did you know?
Wow.
Did you know that was a thing?
I knew that there was a feature on it where it can detect like hard hits. I saw it. The first time I saw it was for like if you're on a bicycle, if you are riding a mountain bike and you flip over the handlebars and hit the ground, your phone will detect a sudden impact and then say, "Are you okay? Have you been in an accident?" And then immediately call 911 and start sending out like a high pitched beep so that somebody could come and find you.
So it did. It as soon as it happened, I was on the phone with someone, and it took over that call and called 911, which is crazy. I had no idea there was even that capability with. I guess it's with iPhones. It had nothing to do with like my Bluetooth or anything like car. I don't have anything fancy like car assist or had anything fancy, right? I didn't have anything fancy. It just there's a crash detection feature that you're talking about, and whenever you're involved in an accident, I guess if you had the latest version of iOS or whatever it is, it picks it up and detects it and calls the law for you. So
Mad Therapy says he should be known as Tolo T-Bone. I like it.
That's pretty good.
Well done.
That is pretty good. DB says, he needs to get in the stream and change his name. That's funny. But again, it was an accident. Obviously, things happen. Accidents happen every single day on Woodruff Road right here on Highway 9 where I was in an accident. But appreciate all the Tolos who sent me a message and checked on me because I am good. A little sore right here in the old back. But you know what? A car is replaceable. So
bet you don't run a 5.240 anymore.
It'd be my 7.240 maybe. If any of you Tolos have a good lead on a vehicle, and I guess in the next month or so, Cole will be vehicles. I hate that because my plan was I almost had my car paid off, and I was gonna just say, you know what, I'll drive it till it dies.
The universe knows, man.
It's awful. It's like as soon as anything in life, you feel like you're getting ahead, bam, something happens, right? And I almost had it paid off, and my plan was just to drive it till it died.
How far were you away from paying it off?
Oh, very close.
Couple months?
Yeah.
Oh,
no. Yeah.
Man, so you're talking, what, less than $1,000? $2,500?
A little more. Somewhere, yeah. I don't know exactly what it was.
It's awful.
But it wasn't much. I mean, it was less than $3,000, a couple of months, and it would have been. But you know what? I'll figure it out. I might be riding a bicycle. I might be in really good shape riding a bike to work every day. I'm just kidding. But, I guess I'll be – you know what sucks is when you're not expected to be, like, in the car shopping part of life, but now here you are. I mean, it's like, oh, man, I didn't want to do this.
And you're not doing it because it's fun, because you want to do it. You're doing it because you have to do it. You know, you don't have enough time.
Yeah.
You can't build up a down payment of any kind.
JD says, Cole, I pegged you for a truck guy. Well, I've always owned trucks. I always had trucks. I've had probably 3 or maybe 4 or 5 trucks, JD. But when I lived in Texas, I bought a car because I did a lot of driving. And, man, I, as a former truck guy, I'll tell you this. You get a car that's reliable and good on gas. Oh, God.
It's hard to go back to that, like, 12 miles of the gallon, isn't it?
Ooh, it's hard.
Oh, man.
The other day at Ingles Markets, I filled my car up. It was like $22.
Nice.
I mean, now it's hard to go back to a truck, right?
I have a Jeep with a small gas tank, and it still cost me $25 to get half a tank.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Sucks.
Buckeye Mike says, glad you were okay, Cole. Diesel did a great job yesterday. Appreciate him doing that. Buckeye Mike, appreciate you as well. But today is opening day. If you did not know, if you were unaware, which if you were, shame on you, because go Braves, as always. And John Fogerty said it best, put me in, Coach. Diesel and I were ready to be put in the game the other day as we were touring the new Spartanburger Stadium in downtown Spartanburg. Diesel, the Atlanta Braves, starting their 2025 season today. A year ago, was it Tuesday? 1 year anniversary for us. We came on air, and the Braves season just starting like the same week that you and I came on the air. And we covered this team. They were the most, I would believe that the Braves last year dealt with more injuries than any other team in Major League Baseball. But you know what I love about opening day? It may not last long, but Diesel, what I love about opening day is the fact that me and other Braves fans out there have this feeling of could be our year, could be us. You never know. It wasn't 21, and I'm ready. I'm fired up. I'm ready for Atlanta Braves baseball.
Well, just don't let the first 7 L's bring you down.
Oh, they will.
Because
They will. They will bring me down.
There's time. It may take. Sad thing is, it may take a month. It may take the first month of the season to get back into the plus side of the win-loss column. But this Braves team has got a lot of talent on it, and they're going to be getting Spencer Strider back. They still have Chris Sale, Acuna. I mean, look, they're getting some talent back. It's going to be a slow start, kind of a slow push off from the dock. You being a fisherman, you know that feeling. Yeah. When you're in the boat, you just barely nudge off the dock. That's kind of what this Braves first month of the season is going to be like.
And by the way, the Orioles-Blue Jays game was delayed. Or it's been delayed. I don't know what Artolos probably can have
failure to launch.
Yeah, I mean we've waited all year for opening day. In the first game, Orioles Blue Jays. One of you Tolos who are actually able to follow and see why it was delayed, not host a radio show, let us know. But it does say delayed in the top of the first. Brewers Yankees first pitch. Diesel is almost underway. James, who has a Phillies logo. Is that a Phillies logo? Am I right there?
That's a classic Phillies logo.
It looks good, though, I will admit. Says, please don't be calling to fire Snitker in late April. Oh, you know I will be. I was last year. It wasn't April. It was like July. But I was calling for Snitker's job last year. And, look, it's part of what we do as Braves fans. We go up and down, right? But some games today, Orioles, Blue Jays, the Brewers, Yankees, supposed to start here momentarily. Phillies Nationals, there we go at 4:05, starting with an in-division matchup. Diesel also at 4:05, a team that I am going to keep my eye on this year, the Boston Red Sox. I think they have a good shot at being really good. They are in Arlington playing the Texas Rangers at Globe Life Field. 4:10, Pirates Marlins in Miami rather. Giants Reds today at 4 o'clock. Angels White Sox, Guardians Royals at 4:10. Mets, Astros, that should be a good one as well.
Here we go, Cole. First pitch. Is this Brewers? First pitch of the first live game? This was the second game of the season, right? The second game of the day.
And the Orioles, I don't know if it ever got underway or not. I don't think
Yankees
it did.
on the bump. First pitch, strike.
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss, but it was a strike, high and outside. Good pitch from, what was that, Rodon?
We're underway, man. We are underway. Yep, Rodon. I believe so.
Rodon. It's kind of hard to read his name from here.
Up on the top, and that's Yankees-Brewers underway. So it should be a lot of fun. The Atlanta Braves starting lineup is announced. We'll get to that. But the Braves-Padres 4:10 today. Also tonight, Twins-Cardinals at 4:15. Tigers-Dodgers 7 o'clock. Cubs-Diamondbacks at 10:10. And then Athletics-Mariners also tonight at 10:10. So a couple of late games for you. But, Diesel, here is your opening day lineup for the 2025 Atlanta Braves. It is going to be I don't know if I want to call it a makeshift lineup right now until you get all of your pieces back. But for the most part, this is going to be your core. Obviously, when you add Ronald Acuna into the mix, it will be a little bit different. But leading off for the Atlanta Braves today is Jurickson Profar playing left field. In 2024, he averaged .280 at the plate, 24 home runs, and 85 RBIs. Batting second is going to be Austin Riley playing third base. He averaged .256 last year. Matt Olson at third, playing first base, averaged .247 a season ago. Marcell Ozuna, DH, .302 a season ago, Diesel. He's batting fourth. And, what I do think I want to mention here about Ozuna before I give you the rest of the lineup is, last year there were so many injuries. But I think it's important to note, Diesel, that a season ago, Braves fans need to remember to give Marcell Ozuna a ton of credit. He was your best player last year, period. Simple. He was, and when everybody else was hurt, when everybody else was banged up, Marcell Ozuna was solid. Week after week, he started well, he ended well. He was really good for the Atlanta Braves last year. So Braves fans have always loved to criticize Ozuna, but I think the criticism, it's time to put up or shut up there if you're a Braves fan. Ozzie Albies batting 5th. Michael Harris batting 6th. Drake Baldwin, the young guy, batting 7th, playing catcher, obviously because of an injury at that position. Orlando Arcia batting 8th. And then Jared Kelenic batting 9th, playing right field. Chris Sale had a 2.38 ERA a season ago. Diesel, he was 18-3, a really good record. He is on the bump today for the Atlanta Braves. I know I saw a few Tolos already talking about Chris Sale in the stream. It better be positive.
JD already thinks he's going to get hurt by his 5th start.
Well, he was really good last year, though, JD. I mean, I know he's a year older.
I think it's just because the Braves are getting Strider back, so, of course, as soon as they get him back, Sale's going to go down.
He is 35, by the way. He turned 35 in March. He was born in '89, so he's getting up there in age. But you know what, man? Like, I know he's had injury problems, and when the Braves signed Chris Sale last year, it was a lot of skepticism, Diesel. But the thing about it is, when he's healthy, he's still one of the best. Like, at 35 years old, think about that. At 35 years old, when he's on, he's still one of the best in the game. So, I don't know. Drake Baldwin and Chadwick Tromp are gonna be interesting to watch at catcher until you get your guy back. I know that injury is something you deal with, but the Braves have several right now.
First inning, the Yankees go 1-2-3, or the Brewers go 1-2-3. So there we go. First inning of Major League Baseball. Quick, fast. Nobody put the ball in play.
You're going to jinx it. That game's going to go 11 innings.
I hope so. I hope so.
Let's see what I have today in terms of plays on the MLB. By the way, you can text the show, the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, anytime at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. The phone line's also open as well. I have the Pirates to win, the Yankees to win, and the Dodgers to win today. I also have a 5-team parlay. Phillies money line, Pirates money line, Braves money line, Orioles money line, and Yankees money line. Diesel riding with some favorites today in the opening day matchups. I know that, here's what I tell people all the time about betting on Major League Baseball. This is what makes it so difficult. Think about it. Your best teams in all of the major leagues, Diesel, are going to win 90 to 100 games, right? So you think, okay, if there's a team that's going to win 90 to 100 games, betting on baseball should be easy. However, that same team's going to lose 60.
Yeah, I mean, you guess if you think you got a good team, you always bet on them to win, and it's like playing a game of blackjack. You're playing a number of hands game, right? It's not about any one individual hand. It's about the total number that you play.
And again, it's just the best team's gonna lose 60 games. So betting on baseball is hard. You just never know. The stream, credit to the Tolos in the stream today. I don't know what it is. You guys are all active and rolling. Sorry, I can't get to all of the messages on there, but I guess opening day has you fired up. We've got Brother Contreras watching from the Bronx in New York. We've got Kane, who is a Armada elitist and says Tolo don't know ball. That's in his name now. Are we going to allow that, Diesel? I mean, are we kidding ourselves? He's got in here Tolos don't know ball. But we don't even know what an Armada elitist is, so I guess we, have to reserve our comments for that. Also, James. Let's see who else. JD, Brian Pettit. A lot of Tolos. DB, I already saw. JB, already in the stream as well. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but a lot of you already in the stream. What is it with the 2-letter names in the stream? You ever thought about that?
JB, JD.
It's a lot of them. I mean, yeah. Kane needs to go, DA. Kidding, Kane. I'm kidding. I just had to throw a shot at you just because you're always throwing shot at the Tolos. And by the way, the Tolos do know ball. Even though there's like 2 Rob Brown Show guys leading the challenge, there's only 3 in the top 10. Come on. I mean,
70% of the top 10 dominated by Tolos.
That's good thing. Come on.
Yeah, not me. Not me. I'm not doing. I'm in 99th place.
I'm in. Let's see what place I'm in. Real quick before we run to a break, I am. How many? We've got 120 something total. Diesel.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me scroll down to the 5th page. Not included. I guess everybody's in here now has picks in. There are 122 total players in the game.
I'm in 33rd.
33rd. How many people are you tied with in 33rd, do you think?
I'd say 2, maybe 3. Is that way off?
Cole Bryson. Cole Bryson has 470 points with a total possible available number of points at 1,750. Which puts you just behind a couple of other Tolos.
Okay.
So you're doing well.
Okay.
You're doing well. But there's about 12 or so Tolos, 12 or so people in here who have 33 points.
I also left out Stephen Webb on the Facebook stream.
SW.
He was like the first one to comment. So what's up, Stephen? Good to see all of you Tolos. Not Armada elitists rocking and rolling in the stream so far.
When we come back, Cole, not only is it Major League Baseball opening day, it's also opening round of the Sweet 16. 4 NCAA tournament games going on tonight. We'll give our first thoughts or deeper thoughts on those 4 games next, right here on the Fan Upstate, Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Those who love college basketball aren't letting Major League Baseball fans have all the sports fun today, Cole. The first 4 games of the Sweet 16 matchups tonight, kicking off at 7:10 p.m. with BYU, Alabama, 7:39, Maryland, Florida, 9:39, Arizona, Duke, and 10:09, Arkansas, Texas Tech. It's 2025. Why have we not learned to not make start times at weird times? Why is it 7:09? Why is it 7:39? Because they're not going to tip at that time. It says 7:09. It's like when you go to a concert and it says doors are at 6 p.m. The show's not going to start till 7. They say 7:09. What are they doing with those 9 minutes? I want my 9 minutes back. Just start the damn game at 7 o'clock.
Diesel, not to get off track here, but we have had a major breaking story in the Tolo Bracket Challenge.
Uh-oh.
Stephen Webb, who is on the stream right now, evidently was the leader this whole time. Did you know that? The guy who's been just killing it, he had a name that was...
It said TRBS in it.
Okay, Stephen Webb on Facebook has just announced, I am first in the bracket, and I just did a big heel turn. If you now go look,
my goodness.
If you now go look, the leader
Steven
in the clubhouse is heel turn Tolo. So let me ask you this question. How can you really brag about having the number one guy as the Rob Brown Show if he's also a Tolo? He probably listens to us more. We won't tell Rob that, but he's now made a heel turn. So now we've got a big developing story.
How about that?
We're back,
Stephen
baby.
Webb.
We're back.
Stephen Webb. See, I thought you had left us, Stephen. I thought you had turned your back on Tolo Nation and had gone over to the dark side, to the Rob Brown Show.
No,
but
sir.
I truly
He's
believe
back.
that Stephen Webb planned this all along.
That's great
Stephen
planning,
Webb
by the way.
put himself into the bracket field as a Rob Brown Show Armada, whatever.
Whatever that
And then,
means.
whatever that means. Stupid.
Armada
And
elitist.
then he said, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. If I'm doing well in this challenge, I'm going to turn heel just in time. Now, he just better not turn heel and go back the other way.
No, there's no – you can't go
if
back.
you do that, Stephen, you're dead to us.
You're dead to us. You're done. You're done.
How about that?
But
so we
by
got
the
Tolo
way-
in first place with Duke as his national champion.
That's a good
560 points, 10 points ahead of the second place. I got this TRBS.
And for the record, just a congratulations to Steven. Like, how in the world you picked these games as well as you did?
Yeah, Steven, tell me your secrets because
99.9% percentage right now.
overall.
Whew.
I think that means the percentile in the total number of people who are in the thing because he's gotten a couple of them wrong, but not many. He's gotten a couple of them wrong,
That's
but not
amazing.
many. He's not still at 99.9% accuracy within the games selected.
Sure.
I think he's just in the top 99.9 percentile
That's
of
impressive.
people who put in brackets. I think that's what that means. But we got some big games tonight. We'll have to look at his picks because that will basically determine who's going to win these games in advance. As a matter of fact, let me open up Stephen Webb's
I've got it open.
profile here and his selections. He's got in the Auburn game, he's got Michigan beating Auburn. Is this right? Am I reading
No, he's
this?
got Auburn over Michigan.
He's got Auburn over Michigan.
Yeah, he's got Auburn over Michigan.
Okay, there it is. Okay, I see. He's got Auburn over Michigan, so lock it up. He's got Michigan State over Ole Miss, so lock it up. He's got Duke over
Oregon's what he had, but they lost.
So he's got Duke over Arizona. He's still got Duke advancing regardless.
Yep.
He's got BYU advancing over Alabama, which you do as well.
Listen to me, I guess, on that.
He's got Florida over Maryland. Pretty standard choice. He had St. John's getting past Arkansas.
Yeah, a lot of people did, though.
But ultimately had Florida advancing anyway. So it doesn't matter if Florida keeps on winning. He's got Tennessee over Kentucky, Houston over Purdue.
Do you know that when there were only like 3,000 perfect brackets in the world, he was one of them?
That's unbelievable.
He was one of them.
That's unbelievable. Steven, do you like eat, sleep, breathe, and crap basketball? Or did you just get incredibly lucky? Tell me the truth.
I take credit for that.
Because
Steve.
there are people who eat, sleep, and crap basketball who are down there with me in the dumps.
Yeah.
Because that's where my bracket sits.
Man, I
now.
cannot wait for BYU Bama tonight. I just can't. Like, I'm not kidding you. I don't know that I've looked forward to a game this year more than I have BYU Bama. I think it could be so high scoring.
Yeah.
Whatever the over-under is, take the over. Just take it.
Both of these teams are scoring at will.
They're so
both of these teams.
Yes.
So let's go game by game with what we've got tonight. Give some thoughts on this game. BYU Alabama 7:09 tip off. BYU is absolutely on fire. They're scoring 85.5 points per game in the tournament. They move the ball well. They space guys out well. They've got multiple guys who can shoot from three. Richie Saunders, absolutely fantastic in this tournament so far, shooting 53% from the field in the first 2 rounds. Alabama on the other side of things, Cole, they push the ball really well. They run and gun. They move. They get teams moving. They put teams on their heels, and they love to fast break. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Like, if BYU needs to be predicated on ball movement and setting up their offense, I don't know that they can keep up with Alabama if Alabama is scoring. So in which case, they better be crazy efficient on offense.
What I think makes this matchup tonight so intriguing for me is things that you just brought up. BYU's ability to score the basketball at will. You said it. They've been able to do so 48% from the floor, 37% from deep consistently. Here's where I think it gets interesting. Bama's perimeter defense is as good as it gets in the country. They've got a great perimeter defense, and that's going to be big tonight against an offense that has been scoring at will. However, while that's true, while that's the case, and Bama does have a really good defense, I think Bama's offense is the one that has the most pressure on them tonight because they're going to have to respond. They're going to have to keep up. Now, if BYU just comes in and goes absolutely cold, it could be Bama and Bama rolls. I don't see that happening. I think BYU continues to do offensively what they've done. I just think at some point Bama's going to have to match them, right? Like when you talk about pace of play and the way that BYU scores, and you get into the second half of that game and BYU's still hitting shots and shooting at 38, 39% clip from deep, Bama's going to have to match them. Now, the last thing I'll say is if Bama's defense can be as good, especially on the perimeter as they've been all season, maybe they defensively can kind of make this thing a little dirty, murky it up a little bit, and change the pace of play. I think that's Bama's best recipe to win tonight.
I think BYU is going to have to shoot at a really high clip. They're shooting 53%. Richie Saunders is shooting 53%.
So good, by
You said
the
the
way.
team was shooting 48%.
Yeah.
They're going to have to hit somewhere close to that and not allow a whole lot of defensive rebounds from Alabama and give them opportunities to get the ball up the court quickly. They're going to have to disrupt them in that way. And then Alabama, they have to make sure they're hitting as well. Because BYU does shoot at such a high clip.
I cannot wait. This is going to be I think this is the best game of the night. Again, I could be wrong. The over-under set at 175.5.
Who dictates tempo is going to matter most in this game.
87.5 points per team is what Vegas is kind of projecting. And by the way, BYU's 5.5 point dog. I like the 5.5.
JB says he thinks Bama wins 95-91 in overtime. JB, I think if these two teams go into overtime, they're going to be up in the hundreds. Both of them.
That'd be fun.
They score in the high 80s, low 90s in regulation. So if you give them an extra couple minutes, man, that's going to change.
It was no expert pick of me picking BYU to make this run. I just their offense is so good. Their offense is so good. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's go down to the 7:39 tip, Maryland against Florida. I think this is probably going to be the most lopsided game of the night. Derek Queen is really good. Derek Queen at Maryland, really, really good. But Florida just lights it up so much, man. And I think they've got a little bit of a coaching edge with Tom Golden. If Florida can slow down Derek Queen, I think they win this game going away. If they let him get hot, they're going to end up in a dogfight. They're going to end up in a slog. But I think Florida probably wins this one, by 10, 12.
I think I think I'm with you. They were kind of like going into March Madness. They were the trendiest pick, I feel like, right? I feel like Auburn was the solid pick. Duke was the solid pick. But I feel like Florida was the trendy pick. And I picked them. You picked them. Florida's good. There's no doubt. I do think Florida wins tonight. The spread, let me check the spread. Last 6.5. 6.5 point favorites. I think they cover. Again, Maryland's a good team. They really are. But I do think Florida covers tonight. Shane Connick, good friend of the show, texted me earlier, Diesel. He said, great day for him, right? Mets opening day in the Terps where he went in the Sweet 16. And I think for a lot of people, this is, I don't want to say an odd feeling, but, you didn't have a Cinderella. What if Maryland won tonight, right? Could we claim Maryland as the Cinderella, even though they're not like a true Cinderella because they had a really good season?
Yeah.
But beating Florida would certainly be big.
I would be excited to see just the Maryland brand come back because there was a time when Maryland was an elite basketball program, and they were fantastic to watch year in and year out. So I think that would be a nice little return to form for a program that is used to being in this position, but hasn't been, honestly, since the last 20, 25 years or so. Let's move down to the third game of the night in a 9:39 tip-off, Arizona against Duke. What I love most about this one, Cole, is Caleb Love's going to have to go against Duke again. Caleb Love, who spent a lot of time at North Carolina, he's now at Arizona. He's a fifth-year senior. He's not going to be intimidated by playing Duke. He's not going to care much about Cooper Flagg. I think his age and his experience is going to help Arizona weather this storm. I think that's going to be big for Arizona, but I don't think, honestly, it's going to be enough.
I don't know if it will be enough either. Look, I don't think this Duke team will look at Caleb Love as oh boy, we've got to be ready. And not no disrespect.
Well,
not
they better be, just not because he's that good, but they have to treat everybody like that.
They do, but I think this Duke team's on a different level. I just do. I think they're on a different level. Let's call it like it is. They have breezed through these first two rounds. They've breezed through them. They haven't been really tested. So, I mean, if you can somehow, some way have a heroic performance from Caleb Love, it would be a great story. I don't see it happening. I think Duke wins by 10 tonight.
Yeah, I think Arizona's got to keep Duke in front of them. They can't allow fast breaks. It's kind of a similar story to that BYU-Alabama game. BYU's got to keep Alabama in front of them and not let them, push the ball down the court. Same thing with Cooper Flagg. He can shoot from outside. He can drive on you, and he can dunk on you from basically the free throw line because that's what kids today can just do. They're that skilled. But if they let Cooper Flagg get loose down the court, they have to account for him. They have to send somebody back. It's got to be if Arizona's shooting three, if Caleb Love is shooting threes, they better put him back down court immediately to go to play defense because Duke will push the ball down the court on him.
I think it'll be a good game. I think Duke pulls away within the last 2 minutes.
Let's see. Texter, this is Brother Contreras, says, what the freak is going on here at Yankee Stadium? Brother Contreras, don't know because it's currently in commercial break, so we're not sure exactly what's going on at Yankee Stadium. And then finally, Cole, the nightcap, Arkansas, Texas Tech, 10:09 tip-off. I don't know that I make the ending of this game unless it's a barn burner, but Arkansas is just on a roll right now, and it seems like a team that is not going to be denied. Having Calipari there, that certainly adds a tremendous amount of confidence to this team. I think Arkansas has a really good shot tonight to get it done because they've been tested in the tournament so far. They played Kansas. They shut down St. John's. 72 and 66 points is what those opponents were scoring against this Arkansas team. Texas Tech hasn't necessarily been really been pushed. They easily took care of UNCW and Drake. I like Arkansas in this one. I think the Red Raiders were kind of up and down scoring, and if you catch them on a good night, they can certainly score with Arkansas and the way they're just on a roll right now. But I'm not sure if that Texas Tech team shows up tonight. It's a 50-50 coin flip on that.
It's a good matchup, I think, between Texas Tech and Arkansas. It's going to be a lot of fun. I do think Texas Tech's the better team, but again, you can't count John Calipari out. You can't do it. Coming up next, we're going to tell you who's joining us at 4 o'clock and why He's joining us at 4 o'clock. Pretty big name. You probably know him. We'll talk about it next. Hello. Hey, I'm sorry. I just saw you were leaving me a voicemail. Hey, Bridget. That's correct. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's right. No, ma'am. There was not. No, ma'am.
don't throw the high fastball in Yankee Stadium. 3 home runs already in this game. All 3 of them, Cole, have been on the high heat.
How about that? A little quick scoring to start today. 2-1.
Yep.
New York leads Milwaukee in the top of the 3rd. I like it. People say, oh, it's too much scoring. Oh, bull crap.
Shut up.
We like scoring. We like homers.
Nobody likes ground outs to shortstop, you nerds.
No, we want the scoring, baby. We want the long balls that go and go and go. That's what we want.
Yep. Volpe and Wells for the Yankees both went yard again, both off of high heat. And then Capra from Milwaukee went yard.
How about that?
Over the left field wall. 370 feet, high heat. Don't throw high heat.
Tolos, coming up next in the very next segment at 4 o'clock. I wanted to talk about this during this segment because we are having a guest on that we've never had on before. You probably have heard of him if you follow college athletics. Diesel and I got the opportunity to bring him on today and talk about what's coming up later in the year with the NCAA versus House settlement. And we, in the very next segment, will be joined by Jay Paterno, who is a member of the Penn State Board of Trustees. He is the son of Penn State legend Joe Paterno, who I'm sure most of you have heard of. He's also the author of Blitzed. It's an all-out pressure of college football's new era. He's going to join us to talk about the House versus NCAA settlement. We've had some big names on the show in the year that we've been on the air, Diesel, but
yeah,
Paterno, we have not had on the show yet.
Yeah, that's tantamount to having on a Patino in college basketball.
Yeah.
Having on a Paterno is a big deal, right?
It is, and again, it's we got the request, and obviously accepted it, and are excited to talk to him. But we're going to talk House versus NCAA. And if like I said a minute ago, if you follow college athletics, you know about his dad, Joe Paterno. Obviously, what happened at Penn State's a big story and was a big story for a very long time in college athletics. Now it's taken a back seat to NIL and the new craziness of college athletics. But very excited to talk to Jay Paterno. What are you most interested in hearing, Diesel, when it comes to the NCAA versus House settlement that potentially could come here soon in the next few months or so?
What I'm excited to ask him is could all of this have been avoided? I don't think a lot of fans are excited about this. There are a few, and I think those are more of the fans, like those who care about trade terms and contract details. I think those kinds of fans are excited about the prospect of $20.5 million being spread around college athletes and figuring out how they're going to move the money around. Those who kind of like the business side of college sports, but those who think most about the on-the-field product, the quote-unquote purity of the game, I don't find a whole lot of those people are really excited about this prospect of student athletes getting paid by their university or revenues being shared. So they're not being paid, revenue is being shared, semantics. But the question is, could all this have been avoided if the NCAA hadn't been such stick-in-the-mud, obtuse, heels dug in SOBs over the last 40 years?
And he's, by the way, Jay Paterno will be joining us on the stream, so you'll be able to watch him live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at the Fan Upstate. The hearing, Diesel, is April the 7th, so getting close to that and excited about it. Obviously, we want you to listen on FM 97.1 in Spartanburg, 97.7 Greenville, and on the Odyssey app. But if you want to watch and see Jay Paterno up close and personal, he'll be joining us here in about 8 minutes right here on the Fan Upstate.
going yard in Yankee Stadium. 3 home runs already in this Yankees-Brewers game. Cole, and they're already putting runs on the board in Camden Yards. Baltimore up 2-0. Actually, they're not even in Camden Yards. They're in Toronto. I said that wrong. 2-0 against the Blue Jays. So we got scoring already in Major League Baseball. Top of the second inning in that game. We are momentarily going to be joined by Jay Paterno, who serves on the board of trustees for Penn State University. We've got him in the background of our interview. We're just
looks
waiting
like
for
a
him
nice
to take the chair.
bookshelf he
there
has
he
there,
is.
doesn't he?
He's popping his way in. We'll wait just a moment to get him in the stream as he's getting himself ready and getting himself situated. But man, for a sports fan, there's not a better day.
No,
in sports, are there? We got Major League Baseball, we got Sweet 16 all on the same day.
Only 9 more minutes, Diesel, until the Atlanta Braves get this thing going to start the season. I know a lot of you Atlanta Braves fans out there are ready. I am as well. So 9 more minutes, and you Braves fans will be able to say opening day is here.
And there he is. He joins the stream. Jay Paterno, member of the Penn State Board of Trustees, son of Penn State legend Joe Paterno, author of Blitz, the all-out pressure of college football's new era, joining us to talk about House versus NCAA. Jay, number one, welcome to the show. We appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. But in an era where college football is now full of consequential changes almost every year, do you feel like this is ultimately going to rank as the most consequential change to college football?
Till the next lawsuit. I mean, I think this is the first step that has to happen, but pretty quickly there's going to be more steps that have to happen. I think this obviously schools are going to directly pay players. NIL is going to be brought in-house, so that stuff, schools will be arranging deals. But I don't think this lands anywhere near stability until you have collective bargaining. Their players are employees, and I'm an old school guy. I mean, this is not how I would wanted to see college football evolve into. But we got to be realistic about what we're doing. We're operating sports entertainment franchises on our campuses. The Big Ten makes $1.1 billion a year in television revenue. It's just one conference. We're not in Kansas. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is. I mean, let's be realistic about what we are.
You know, it's interesting, Jay. By the way, this is Cole. Appreciate you hopping on with us. Diesel and I have brought that up many times about collective bargaining and athletes becoming employees. We've gotten a lot of pushback from other guests, from listeners. The brightest minds in college football, I don't remember who it was just a couple of months ago, told us that was a crazy idea to have the athletes become employees. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and go into why you think that would be the best case scenario?
Yeah, I mean, to settle down the transfer portal, to settle down guys jumping around, the House settlement's going to happen. But if the next year the top quarterback in the country says, well, I'm not part of that. I'm not part of that class action suit, and I don't agree to that, and I want $7 or $8 million to go to your school, and a school says, I'm sorry, we're capped by this settlement, there's another lawsuit, and that lawsuit goes away. And until college football and college sports gets an antitrust exemption at the federal level, they're going to be subject to those lawsuits. And let's not even forget about Title IX. The minute the ink is dry in this, and 19 of the 18 or 19 of the million of the 20.5 a year goes to men's football and men's basketball, you're going to have Title IX lawsuits, and that's going to open up. So every lawsuit decision just sets up the next lawsuit.
Jay, one thing that's concerned me since I heard even the prospect of making college athletes employees of the universities is what happens when the day comes around that a football player or a basketball player who doesn't fancy himself going to college for school decides, I don't want to go to school. Like I want to be an athletic only representative of Penn State or Ohio State or Michigan or wherever it may be. Do you foresee a future where a quarterback says, hey, I didn't come here to play school. I came here to play football, and somehow sues, gets an exemption or something to basically remove the academic component of a requirement of being on that team?
Well, again, we should be honest about what we're doing. If there is if somebody wants to go to a trade school, okay, and learn how to weld or do those kind of things, there's nothing against that. If somebody wants to come here and say, you know what, I'm going to major in football and I'm interested in preparing myself for a career in the NFL. Again, I'm a purist. I hate this idea, but let's be realistic. When you look at grad transfers right now, they're just rentals. And a lot of those guys aren't spending 1 minute in an actual classroom. A lot of players aren't. They're all on online classes. I have a book on my bookshelves called Touchdown it was written by Amos Alonzo Stagg in the late 1920s. And at that time, schools like Harvard, Yale, Princeton had football teams that were just guys they paid to play football. Now, they were supposed to be students, but they weren't enrolled. So this is not new. This is, every time somebody thinks we've come across something new in history, you go, no, this happened back then. And so, we're at that critical juncture. We got to make a decision. There's the guy used to tell me a joke all the time. He said, a woman goes into confession with a Catholic priest and she says to the priest, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. I had sex with a man who's not my husband for $100,000. And the priest says, well, would you have done it for $10,000? She said, well, what kind of person do you think I am? And he says, we've established what kind of person you are. It's just what's the going rate. And that's kind of where college sports is right now. Yeah. And so if somebody says, I want to be a apprentice to the NFL, at some point, let's take the money, the scholarship money we would have given that guy and give it to somebody who really wants to go to college and let them use it.
We're joined by Jay Paterno right here on the Fan Upstate in the upstate of South Carolina. Jay, can you go into how much a guy like you who's on the board of trustees at Penn State has with involvement in the decision makings and the hearing coming up in April?
We don't have a whole lot of it. We're mostly informed on it, but because I've been consulting in NIL and because I coached for 20 plus years in college and that kind of stuff, I've had a lot of input in terms of on the board of trustees and in terms of people saying, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? When we redid James Franklin's contract in November of 2021, one of the things I said to them is you guys really should put a clause in there that when revenue sharing kicks in, this is November of 2021, when revenue sharing kicks in, you ought to have an out to renegotiate this thing because you're going to have to find, at that time, I said maybe 20, 25 million in revenue sharing that you're going to come up with. Because right now, when you look at our athletic department budget, we are right at the break-even point. And in a matter of months, we got to come up with $20 million. So this is not going to be an easy lift for anybody. But we did not put that clause in there. But if you look at Texas A&M, they've put some of those clauses in their contract. So actually, not to pat myself in the back, but I will. But I mean, this is one of those things I told them was coming.
Jay, when I think about, the $20.5 million, and you just said it, that programs are going to have to figure out where to come up with it. I think about a lot of the programs that are not operating with Big Ten media payouts, with SEC level media payouts, and I think about those schools that have a lot of winning tradition, but have always had to kind of do more with less. In your mind, what thought process has been put into ensuring that those programs that are, also important to the fabric of college football can stay solvent and even stay operational?
I don't know. There's been enough thought process to quite frankly with you. And when you look at what we have allowed to happen in terms of the size of staffs, the salaries, I mean, you think about you have head football coaches that are making 10% of total revenues in their program. That's not 10% of net profit or whatever you want to call it. There are very few business models anywhere in the world where one employee is going to make 10% of every dollar that comes in the door. So, you have massive, we've gone from roughly 33 people that were employees around a football program just a decade ago to where you're 85, 90 people working around a football program. So how many analysts do you need? How many consultants do you need? How many coaches do you need? It's the same number of guys on the field. There's 11 players playing 11. Now you need so every university is going to have to sit and probably do an honest assessment as to what do you actually need to run your program rather than what do you want? Because just because Ohio State has 12 analysts, does Clemson need them or does Penn State need them or whatever it may be? And, I think, one of the guys I think that's going to be really interesting to watch is Dabo Swinney, who's down your way, because he's taken a very different approach. You look at them at the end of the year last year; they were a pretty good football team. They developed into a good football team, and I'm rooting for the guy because I think he's trying to do it in a very different way.
Jay, it's interesting you bring Clemson.
And by the way, I started my coaching career at UVA, so that's hard for me to say anything about Clemson.
Well, I wanted to piggyback off of that, Jay. What were your thoughts on a guy like Tom Allen, right, coming to Clemson as the defensive coordinator from up your way, a big coaching change? A lot of people call it a lateral move, and, it's a big get for the Clemson Tigers, who you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think Tom will do a great job. I think Tom did a really, really good job here. I know he's got family down that way, and I think he is a very I didn't get to know him real well, but he's a very religious guy, and I know Dabo and he are really kind of, as Italians say, they're simpatico in that relation, that department. So I think it was he just felt like maybe it's a better fit for him or whatever, but Indiana is still paying him, so no matter where he goes, I think Indiana was paying him $7.75 million last year. We were paying him 1.5, so he was doing pretty well. I don't know what Clemson's paying him. I think they gave him a little bit of a raise, but I think he'll do a really, really good job there. Really, when he was in Indiana as the head coach, they had some really good defensive football teams, and he didn't have the kind of talent that he had at Penn State, and he's not, or that he'll have at Clemson. Clemson's always the last several years had really good pass rush guys up front, tough defensive tackles. Clemson right now, I think that's a team that can really do a lot of damage in the ACC. And I think with the 12-team playoff, I think I look at that as a team that should make the playoff and have a really good run.
Talking to Jay Paterno here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, author of Blitzed, the all-out pressure of college football's new era. Can you tell us a little bit about the book? And as you were in the process of researching and writing, I know all authors who put together books like this discover things along the way that maybe they hadn't previously considered. Can you do a little deep dive on the book and reveal some of the surprises?
Well, I don't want to reveal too many of them because I want people to read it. But, I wrote a book about my dad back in 2014, and then I started to write a book about all the things I had experienced in college coaching. And I was going to write it as nonfiction. Then I realized, well, you're going to get lawyers involved. And when you start telling these stories, somebody may blow your car up. There's some of that stuff in there. So that book was called Hot Seat. It was set at Ohio State, and basically the coach loses a bowl game, loses to Michigan at the end of the year, and he's told he's got 1 year to win or else. So it took you through all that. Then now with NIL and the transfer portal and the current age that we're in now, having consulted with a group that works with schools all over the country, I've got a lot of feedback, a lot of stories that have come back. So it's really nonfiction fiction. So when you read it, it's set at Ohio State again. It's set with all these stories being, quote, fiction, but they're all, these are all based on real stories going on in real time. And you'll see the pressures that are on these coaches 24/7, the pressure that are on these kids and the mental health issues that they're dealing with because of the pressure to compete on the field and get as much money as they can and deal with NIL or maybe transfer because there may be more money. You have a whole different world now where there are women in this workplace now as coaches, as analysts, and how do coaches deal with those kind of pressures. And you deal with all those things changing so rapidly for a college coach. And by the way, still has to win. And by the way, the kids, this is one thing no one talks about. The players are still supposed to go to class and get a degree on top of making money in NIL and doing all that stuff and playing. So all these things come into play. So this is a very real behind the scenes. If you want to know what it's like inside a college program right now, this is the first real tell-all book. And because it's quote fictional, I can be very honest without worrying about somebody blowing my car up or suing me.
Jay, it's interesting. You were one of the first consultants when NIL was born, I guess, right? Yeah. Let's just use that. So you've been around NIL, and I would assume more on the football side, but when you hear things like 1,250 men's college basketball players have entered the portal, and the season's not even over. We're still in March Madness, right? And the Sweet 16 beginning tonight. What is a guy who's has heavy involvement in what's going on with NIL and the portal. What's your reaction to hearing something like that?
Well, the tough thing is not all of them are going to land someplace. And the other tough thing is if you're a high school player coming out, if you're not a Cooper Flagg type level player, which I shouldn't use him, he's on his own level. But if you're not one of those top 100, top 300 guys, schools are going to start looking for that transfer guy before they come to recruit you out of high school. And then when you talk about the roster limits that are now going to be in place where most teams like a Penn State or a Clemson would have 120 guys, 125 guys in their roster. Now that's going to be limited to 105. So now there's 20 guys that get freed up by these schools that now that comes into play. I think that's why I think that the collective bargaining and all those kind of things really have to come into play. So now you can kind of settle down the labor market force, so to speak, as well as get these windows into parameters that make sense. We had a quarterback here at Penn State, Bo Pabula, who transferred right before the playoff. And he was a guy who had been playing and coming in and doing some like wildcat type stuff and making some plays. And, if we had him, we may have had a different result in the semifinal against Notre Dame if he had come in and done a couple of things that he'd done. So I think it's got to settle down, but there's got to be an overarching rule that is agreed to by everybody, or again, you'll end up in court.
Jay, whenever there's a massive change in a sport like this, I always like to, consider the cause and effect. And a lot of people think this is the cause that will lead to effects, and it certainly will. But imagining that this is the effect, that the $20.5 million that will have to be revenue shared to athletes, if we look backwards 10, 15, 25 years, do you believe if the NCAA hadn't been as rigid as they had been up until this decision started picking up some steam, that if all of this could have been avoided if they had said, okay, college athletes, we'll let the school pay you, your scholarship, and you'll get all of the things that you would get for free with your scholarship, and we'll give you $2,500 a year. Could this have been avoided without it getting as large as it has so quickly?
I don't think there's any question about it. I think when California passed the law a couple of years ago, everybody just felt like, oh, this will go away. I mean, I can tell you just internally in discussions we had as trustees, it was like, well, that's really not going to happen. That's what, our athletic director at the time, president at the time, were saying, the people of the NCAA say this isn't going to happen. And I'm just sitting there going, I'm telling you, you guys we ought to figure out where we land this plane. And I think there's a parallel as it relates to, which really kind of sets us up to where we are. Back in the 1980s, the Supreme Court took the television rights away from the NCAA and deregulated them. So at that time, a number of schools nationally, Penn State was among them, we were still an independent at that time, got together with a number of conferences, Notre Dame, whatever, and they put together a national television package that was more equitably distributed the money among all the schools. So schools like USC could stay in the Pac-10 or Pac-8 or Pac-12, whatever it was back then. And so everybody kind of stayed put. Well, that was all because some people got together with leadership on a national level and landed that plane. That, to this date, has not happened at the NCAA level as it relates to all this. So I think there's no question that we'll look back on the last 2 or 3 years as an opportunity missed. And these are kind of lost years. And I think the reality is this. The COVID year was an eye-opener in terms of you had students, football players on campuses that were quarantined from everybody else so they could keep playing games through COVID. And the reason was we needed the TV check. But if Penn State and Clemson were to play next year and the players from Penn State and Clemson all walked off the field right before the game, we're not going to stick around and watch, Dabo Swinney and James Franklin play cornhole. Now, they may be great. They may be the best cornhole players in the country, but you're not going to get 110,000 people to stick around and watch them play cornhole, and Fox Big Noon Kickoff is not going to stick around to watch that. So the players in that COVID year started to realize, wait, without us, people coming to see us play. And it's true. I mean, look, nobody comes to watch people call plays. They come to watch the guys make plays. And that's where we're at. And that's why the players now have a lot of leverage right now.
Hey, Jay, I wanted to ask you an off-script question here. A couple of days ago, we had audio of Rick Pitino. You mentioned being an Italian, right? A fellow Italian-American in Rick Pitino, who we just watched last Saturday clash with another one, and John Calipari, a great game between St. John's and Arkansas. With you being an Italian, your dad born in Brooklyn, kind of like Rick Pitino, I believe.
Yep.
What were because this audio we played on the show the other day was Rick Pitino ranking his top 5 Italian dishes. What would be Jay Paterno's top 5 Italian dishes?
Oh my God, I'm gonna get in trouble. All of them have to be made by my mom. That would
Good
be,
answer.
She's not Italian, but she learned it pretty well. But eggplant parmesan, love it. Cannot get enough of it.
Wow.
That might be 1 through 5 for me. I mean, honestly, it is. I mean, a great pizza is obviously up there. I'm a big red sauce guy. I'm not one of these Alfredo guys. Gnocchis, I'm not a big fan of. I mean, the pasta's but you get a good plate of sausage and meatballs and peppers, and you get a good eggplant parmesan. I mean, I'm just happy as can be. And it's in all the towns I recruited, I started to find out where the hometown places were. And, there's still a place in Youngstown, Ohio. Every time I'm driving on I-80 out there, I stop in and get plates of food there. But yeah, there's no question that Italians, we do food right. But I will say this. I've learned to smoke meats and mess with barbecue sauces because I did spend some time in the South. What's the name of this? Oh God, there's a place that it's got the lighthouse down your way. The drive-in place.
Beacon? The Beacon?
Yes, the Beacon. Yes, been there. Oh yeah, been to Maurice's Piggy Park.
The Beacon is probably 20 miles from where we sit right now, if that. Yeah.
And I've been to Maurice's Piggy Park in West Columbia with the mustard sauce. Those two groups of people, the Southerners and Italians, eat better than anybody else in this country by far.
I like it.
That's funny.
And I'd probably weigh about 30 pounds less if I didn't indulge. Right. But that's about, but some things are worth it.
Jay, I'm not Italian, but I did spend a couple of months living in New York City about 15 years ago. Carroll Gardens, the name of the neighborhood, if you know Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn, right off Smith Street in downtown Brooklyn. I want to ask you one more question. It's a little bit off topic from your book as well. I worry about what happens if the power conferences eventually decide they're going to break away and do their own thing. We're having a not dissimilar situation here in the state of South Carolina, where the state government is interested or looking at maybe pulling away control of running the high school leagues here and making it a state-run institution rather than a self-run institution. What in your mind is the plan, or is there a robust enough plan in place right now if power conferences do choose to break away that they can govern the totality of what college football is? Or do you anticipate they're going to be kind of a deer in the headlights, like, oh, we thought this was a good idea, and now we actually have to build out a robust governance structure?
They're trying to build out a robust governance structure right now. The question is, can they do it fast enough by July 1? I don't think they can. I think that it's one of those things that sounds good on paper, but it's coming. They're going to break away. Everybody's kind of made their mind up that that's coming. I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. I think the more people that can play at the highest level, the healthier it is for the sport nationally. But I think that's coming. But I like you said, I'm not sure they can get it right soon enough. And again, once you put those rules in place, somebody's going to sue you. I mean, you need antitrust protection right now. I think probably what's best for college sports is that the schools that play football at a certain level kind of break away, because football is different than all these other sports. When you look at women's volleyball, you look at all, USC is coming east how many times to play women's volleyball. Stanford and Cal are coming east to play baseball and football and, all these other sports. It doesn't make any sense. And so if football is going to kind of drive this bus, if you kind of remove that from the equation and then the ACC goes back for all the other sports into what they're used to, that's probably a healthy solution for all this. Because everybody looks at, it's great for football to have these great, interesting matchups. But at the end of the day, it's not good for all the other sports. I mean, USC's baseball program has been great, but they're going to be in West Lafayette, Indiana in March, and it might be 38 degrees and snowing. It's not what they signed up for.
Jay, fantastic stuff, man. We really appreciate you taking time to join us today. Really enjoyed it, as always. We love keeping up with you and appreciate you. Hope we can do it again soon sometime.
Anytime, man. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jay.
Jay Paterno, right here on the Fan Upstate is where you heard him, where you watched him. If you missed any of that, you can go back and listen on the free Odyssey app, AUDACY. That's how you can go back with the rewind feature and watch anything or listen to anything you missed right here on the Fan Upstate. Really appreciate Jay taking time to hop on with us. Good stuff there.
It's wild to be able to pick the brain of those who are genuinely in the know.
Yeah,
There's people who think they know. He's in the know because he's in the boardrooms when they discuss these things.
Fantastic stuff there. We, Diesel, in the very next segment, will take the Sweet 16 with a little bit different twist. Earlier in the show, we talked about the games happening tonight. In the next segment, we will power rank the 16 remaining coaches in college basketball. That's next. Big thank you to Jay Paterno. I almost said Joe, but that is or was his father and still is, obviously, who we all know as college football fans. Really good stuff there, Diesel, from Jay Paterno. We got that interview request from one of the people that worked for Jay and he does a lot of engagements with media all throughout the country. We really didn't know, when we get these big-time, big-name guests like that, you really don't know what to expect because some of them are great. Some of them, the reality is, even while they're wildly popular, are not good interviewers, right? They're not good at being interviewed. And Jay was fantastic. You can tell he's in the media a lot, and really good stuff there. We could probably unpack that for the next hour.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely could. And that last question I asked him there about the breakaway and are the conferences truly ready to govern themselves? Because they're going to have to create a structure not unlike the NCAA, right? They're going to have to reinvent that wheel. So the question is it really better to just leave what you've got in place as much as you may not like the way the NCAA runs things? Is it better to leave that structure in place or try to strike out on your own? Because that comes with its own set of challenges, and he said, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's definitely happening.
So I want to get into this in this segment with the 16 remaining teams, Diesel. Beginning tonight, the Sweet 16, the March Madness obviously began last week, but the Sweet 16 back in action tonight, and then, 4 more games tomorrow or whatever it is tomorrow night as well on Friday. But I want to know where you stand, Diesel, as well as where the Tolos stand on these 16 coaches, because there are some really good coaches in these 16. And we don't have to power rank them 1 through 16, but if you start at the bottom, you've got like Dusty May at Michigan, Chris Beard, Ole Miss, who many people, consider Chris Beard one of the best coaches in the game, Kevin Young at BYU, Kevin Willard at Maryland, Grant McCasland, Texas Tech, very good coach, obviously, Matt Painter, Purdue, John Calipari, Arkansas, Mark Pope, in his very first season at Kentucky. Kelvin Sampson at Houston, very good coach. Todd Golden at Florida. Tommy Lloyd at Arizona. Tom Izzo at Michigan State. And then Nate Oates, Bruce Pearl, and John Shire and Rick Barnes. So let's do this. Instead of power ranking 1 through 16, let's try to get 5 of those 16, because when I started reading from the higher seeds and even read off a guy's name like, let's go all the way back to Kelvin Sampson or Chris Beard. This is tough. This is very difficult to do. So, Tolos, I want to hear from you on this at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. You can text the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. The phone lines are open as well. Of the 16, let's start at the top, Diesel. Let's you and I go back and forth and start at the top here. You've got some really good coaches. Many would argue that John Shire is the best coach. Obviously, very new at Duke. Rick Barnes, been around the game a long time. Bruce Pearl, Nate Oates. Who would you say of the 16 has to be at your number 1 spot, the best coach remaining, and then we'll work our way down. The best coach, though, remaining in the March Madness tournament in your mind is who?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is tough.
I'm gonna.
How do you pick guys?
How do you pick?
For example, how do you take John Shire over Kelvin Sampson at Houston?
Yeah.
I mean, he's phenomenal. He's really good. He's been in the game a long time.
I'm gonna start.
Shane Barrett goes Bruce.
I'm gonna start with the biggest name and say it's John Calipari.
Wow.
Because John, look, I get that Kentucky fans are upset that he didn't win a lot of national titles at Kentucky. He took his team to a lot of tournaments, took his team past the round of 64 a lot of times, which, if you're a Kentucky fan, you say, big whoop, you made it to the round of 32. That doesn't really matter. But he kind of reinvented the wheel and did something different than a lot of other coaches did. He lived and died by the one-and-done player at Kentucky. And,
he did.
And I would say while he was there, I lamented that fact because I'm like, dude, you are ruining college basketball by sending some of those most exciting and best players in the game back out the door after just 1 year, once we've just gotten introduced to them. But a guy that's been in the game as long as he has and has taken his team to, and I'm going to do the math here. Well, okay, I'm not going to do the math here because I can't count that high. How many tournaments he's taken UMass, Memphis, and Kentucky to?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to argue with just the sheer number of tournament teams he's coached.
So it's hard to – here's what's difficult about this conversation when you're trying to find of the 16 coaches in the tournament. When you're trying to find the best, if you were going to say, okay, this is the number one guy, there's so many good choices. However, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, Diesel, let's look at this year because we live in the now, right? We live in – John Calipari's been in the game a long time. Tom Izzo's been in the game a long time. Let's look at the now. The talent on this Michigan State team, to me, doesn't really jump off the page. They have 0 players, Diesel, on the all Big Ten first and second teams. Let me say that again. Michigan State has 0 players on the all Big Ten first and second team list. And you're talking about a Big Ten title, 29 wins, top 5 defense, right? I'm going to throw this. This might be a curveball. For my list, I'm going to go Tom Izzo at 1. I just think the job that he's done this year, and I know that might fall into more of a Coach of the Year award, but like Tom Izzo has been around the game a long time, very accomplished. Their defensive efficiency in 2024 and 2025 is at the top of the country. Offensive glass, look at the numbers there, top of the country. Again, to not have all-stars and big names when we're talking about, Janai Broom and Cooper Flagg, right? When we're talking about those guys, you're talking about a Michigan State team that has a team built around 6-7 guys that are really, really efficient. I'm going to go Tom Izzo at 1. Do you hate that?
No, I don't. I mean, he's been around the game forever, and he knows how to get the absolute best out of his players. He doesn't have the most accomplished roster on this left in this tournament. But I'm with you there. I like Tom Izzo quite a bit. So are we putting together our own top 5s?
Yep, our own. Yeah, so you're going. I like yours too, though. I mean, that's why we're going to do our own because I think it's just so tough. I mean, it's tough to land on these guys. But I'm going to go again. You went with
I went Cal at 1,
and I like that. Look,
think about it this way. He started off, what'd you say, 0-5 in conference play?
0-5
this year.
Sure.
Came in with a bunch of dudes who didn't know each other. I'm sure he had to write their names on their forehead so he could remember who these guys were up through the first half of this season. And he suddenly turned not a team into a team. And they got hot. They galvanized at the right time. And that's what having, 20 some odd years of experience as a high-level coach will do for you.
I love Cal. You know what's interesting? We've talked about this with Tom Brady, Diesel. I wasn't a Tom Brady fan in New England. Mm-hmm. When Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, I loved Tom Brady. I was not a John Calipari MAGA fan when he was in Kentucky. All of a sudden, he's in Arkansas, now I like him. I don't know why. They just changed the scenery.
Because he's not coaching for the Empire?
Maybe so. Maybe so. I'm going to go Izzo at 1.
Okay.
This one's tough. God, this one's tough, man.
You go 2. Number 2, I'm going Bruce Pearl from Auburn.
Good one.
I love his high energy nature. I love just the passion that he puts into coaching his team. The fact that he was able to keep Janai Broom at Auburn when he could have and should have been a top 5, probably a number 1 overall pick, depending on what year he came out. He's just guided this program into waters that Auburn basketball had never been in before. He is literally building that program essentially from scratch because they didn't have a tremendous amount of history. I understand with Chuck back in the day at Auburn, but not to this level of success. He's taken them to new heights, so that's why I'm going Bruce Pearl.
He has, man. This is what we're doing right now is unbelievably challenging because all of these 16 coaches are really, really good, like all of them. I'm going to go Cal at 2.
Okay.
I'm going to go to I had Kelvin Sampson from Houston at 2, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to go Tom Izzo 1, John Calipari 2 because of his longevity in the game. I was watching a video of him and Rick Pitino from 1996 when they were playing in the Final Four.
Yeah.
I mean, the longevity. Shane Barrett goes Bruce, Cal, Izzo, Sampson, Shire. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I brought this up for a reason because it's so tough. I go Izzo, Cal. I'll go Bruce Pearl at 3. You had him at 2.
Yep. I'm going at 3. I'm going Kelvin Sampson from Houston because Houston has always been a program that knows how to win. Always. But they've just moved up into a much more difficult conference and a much higher level of play, and they haven't missed a beat.
No.
They haven't missed a beat. The back-to-back conference titles, number one seed for 3 consecutive seasons, a super long, 15-game win streak. They've won 28 of their last 29. I mean, Houston is a juggernaut right now. So that's why I'm going Kelvin Sampson at my 3.
All right, who would you be your 4 and 5?
4 and 5. Let's see. I'm going to go Izzo at 5.
Okay.
My 4 is probably going to be John Shire because of the job required to follow the guy. I mean, to be able to do that and to come in, like, anybody could say, oh, we can recruit off of the Duke brand. Well, the Duke brand doesn't quite mean as much now when everybody's paying.
Yeah,
right?
and I don't know that anybody had a harder job. Like, follow Coach K.
Look at what they've had to do at North Carolina, at number 1 after Dean Smith retired, and it took a couple of coaches to figure it out there.
Alabama,
and then Roy leaves, and it's taken a couple of coaches, and they still don't have it figured out after Roy has left.
No, it's impressive. I'm going to go Tom Izzo 1, Calipari 2, Bruce Pearl at 3, Kelvin Sampson at 4, and John Shire at 5. Shire has to be at 5, in the top 5. And I know you may say, Cole, you've got 16 coaches, and 9 of them have been coaching longer than Shire has. How can you have Shire in the top? Because of what we just said. I don't know that anybody had a more difficult task.
This isn't a participation award.
No, to follow Coach K. Are you kidding me? So that's my list. Izzo, Cal, Pearl, Sampson, Shire. I'm excited, especially for that 7 o'clock matchup between BYU and Bama, baby. We've got MLB opening day. We've got March Madness. I need this. Inject it into my veins, Steve.
When we come back, Cole, we'll take a look in what's going on in San Diego for the Atlanta Braves opening day. And we'll see if we can figure out how to watch it because, man, it is buried behind a paywall somewhere. That's where you can find it. Okay. Maybe you can bus benches. They have screens in there now. We'll find a way. We'll hopefully find a way to be able to watch this game. Otherwise, we're watching the box score just like everybody else. But how are they faring in the now top of the second? We'll come to that next on the Fan Upstate. Normally Cole's problem is not turning on the mic at all.
Yeah,
now we got him turning it on premature.
At least I didn't say something bad, I was going to tell you now, at least I'm looking at the camera because of what we did during the break that we didn't do, but
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry.
You
Cole,
can't see what's on either side of my head, Tolos.
Yeah.
Oh, no, okay.
Big ears.
Atlanta Braves, San Diego Padres, top of the second. Padres got out ahead 2-1. Atlanta Braves, they're getting runners on base. I like that they're getting pokes out there. Arcia put one out there straight over the second base. Straight over second base. Unfortunately, got batter right behind him, hit him into a force out at second base. But the Braves still have a runner on first base, 2 outs, top of the second. Coming to the plate is Profar. So
he was the one that led off with the hit, and that was the guy that I was most intrigued today was Jurickson Profar. A guy that probably won't be in the lineup the whole year, but boy, do we need this guy right now. Like, boy, does this guy need to step up. He's batting 1,000 this year, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to to get your batting average up.
He was by the way, a former Padre. He was with the Padres last year.
Hits well in this park.
Yeah, and was really well in the Grapefruit League. So look, that could be a underrated get by the Braves if this guy does pan out. We'll see, though. Do
you instantly change your mind, Cole, on this Braves team and how good they can be if they figure out a way to get a win today?
I live and breathe. I'm just emotional. If we lose today, I have a group text of my Braves friends. It'll be like, season's done. We're done. But if we win, we're going to win it all. Right?
180, what?
Yeah, 180
some odd games. Long way to go for the Atlanta Braves. But a look around Major League Baseball, what else is happening out there? The Yankees still lead the Brewers 2-1.
Good.
The Orioles are swinging the stick, my friend, up 6-2 on the road in Toronto. That game is in the top of the fifth. I love the pitch clock because we have gone, it feels like we just started talking about games getting underway, and all of a sudden, boom, top of the fifth in games.
I love it for not only the viewing purposes, but being at a game.
Yeah.
I just, you and I, we talked about it when it was in the college ranks with Clemson, South Carolina. Being in attendance, it just has a better rhythm.
Now, could you imagine, Cole, now that you've had some time to get used to it, you've watched a lot of college baseball with the pitch clock, could you imagine now having to go back to a game without a pitch clock to the point where this thing is slowed down to a glacial pace?
No.
That would suck.
We did the right thing. Huge win for baseball a couple of years ago. And again, you're right. It's already, you talked about the Orioles game. It's already the top of the fifth.
Top of the fifth.
I love it.
Top of the fourth in D.C. Phillies Nationals tied up at 0. Rangers lead the Red Sox in Texas 1-0. Bottom of the third, Pirates and Marlins tied at 0.
Come on, Pirates.
Middle of the third, Reds have 1, Giants 0. Bottom of the second, oh my God, the White Sox have a lead, 1-0. Cole, was it last year or was it the previous year when the White Sox had the worst ever record in Major League Baseball?
I think it's every year. Get it right. By the way, Tiger pal Rachel tweeted us on X at Diesel on Radios, where you can find Diesel. I'm at the Cole Bryson. She said, "Let's go Yankees."
Boo.
But by the way, I did respond back with a boo. However, I rescind that. Take that back. Go Yankees today. Wow. I had the Yankees -1.5 and on a parlay, so I need go Yankees.
That's fair.
Tiger pal Rachel. We love you. Love the Yankees.
It only took greed to change your mind about the Yankees. Let's see. Twins and Cardinals still in a rain delay in that game. Houston Astros up 1-0 on the Mets.
By the way, Chris Sale is now at 31 pitches, bottom of the second. So we'll see if he can if he could get out of this inning with 10 or less. It'd be huge. I don't know if that'll happen or not. He just threw 1 for 1 out, so ground ball and gets him out. So we'll see. He's now at 31 pitches, bottom of the second. As you said, the Padres have a 2-1 lead over the Bravos.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be here, man. Major League Baseball back underway. I still think the NCAA tournament should have played tonight's games last night to not be competing with opening day of Major League Baseball.
I forgot to tell you my idea, by the way. I'm glad you said that about playing. We had March Madness last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My idea is, and I heard this, so it's not my idea, but I'm going to endorse it, right? I'm going to put my stamp of endorsement. Move the NIT back. Give them a break. Let Monday, Tuesday be just slam full of NIT. That way we don't have like this huge climax and go to nothing. From 100 to nothing. Give us something on Monday, Tuesday to at least there's, I'm not watching NIT, but at least there's something going on.
I think the NIT should be like a 3-day tournament. You know, just encapsulate it all.
Monday, Tuesday,
they don't need to stretch this thing out.
Between the 32 and Sweet 16. What about that?
I just say just bring it down to 16 teams.
Yeah, really.
You know, just started at 16, and you know you're talking about the teams that otherwise people are looking at should have been into the NCAA tournament right there on the edge for a big part of the season. You want to make the NIT matter? Shrink it.
Hey, 5 pitches so far for Chris Sell in the bottom of the second, 2 outs. How about that?
Ice the arm, meat. 5
pitches, 2 outs. The Atlanta Braves are actually on TV today, so we're like in heaven. And then the Padres just line one to left field. So Padres
the heck is
have
gray media anyway?
Gray media, I don't know. But I do know that the next segment is one of the most fun segments of the week. And if you Tolos don't participate in the next segment, you're lame.
You're fired.
Where's that? What did you say? You're fired? Dewey. Everyone else, I don't know about Dewey. We don't want to call him to attention, wake him up today. But the Tolo Takeover, it's your opportunity to take over these airwaves with whatever you want to talk about, good, bad, in between. Get something off your chest. It's your time to take over. The phone lines are open. Let's get the lines full between now and the start of the next segment. Phone number, pull out your phones, Tolos, open the phone app, do it with me. I'm going to unlock my screen, open the phone app, type in 844-326-3663, and hit the green dial button. The Tolo Takeover is next. The time is now Tolos, which, by the way, stands for turn on, leave on. That's what we ask you to do each and every day right here on the Fan Upstate. The time is now for you to not only Tolo, not only turn it on, not only listen, but participate. You know, when you were in class in third grade and your teacher got on to you for not participating, not raising the hand because you didn't know the answer to the science question, well, I'm going to fuss at you just like the third grade teacher did. You, I'm talking to you that's driving down the road right now. That's right, you, in the car, in the truck. The Tolo Takeover can be one of the best segments of radio that you'll hear all week long. It's your opportunity to take over these airwaves, and Diesel and I shut up. That's what we want, or that's what you want us to do all the time because we're so stupid, don't know what we're talking about. So it's your opportunity to show how smart you are. Vent, whatever you want to do. Talk about anything. The floor is open as long as it's FCC worthy, and the phone lines are open right now. We'll go to JD, who's been hanging on through the break, and then Diesel will bring it back here for you and I to give any rants or vent on anything we have. I don't have anything to vent on today, but I do want to talk about something. But first, let's give the callers the priority and go to JD on the phone lines at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's FANFONE. What is on your mind, JD?
Number one, Cole, thanks for taking my call. Diesel, you as well. Number two, why are you encouraging people to do the same thing that got you into a wreck yesterday, Cole?
What do you mean?
You want us all to drive through a red light and get T-boned because we have bad takes on the radio?
Casting aspersions.
Nobody drove through a red light. They just drove out of a drive and didn't see me and T-boned me. But yeah, I want you to call safely, pull over on the side of the road, wait till you're stopped, obviously, and call the show. Because this could be, but like I said, it could be the best segment of the week. Only if you Tolos participate.
Right. Well, I follow instructions. You guys say call, and I listen.
Let's
I will
go.
pick up the phone. I'll give you guys a call. So, number one, Cole and Diesel, let me ask you guys this. I put this up on my Twitter page just a little bit ago, and I've gotten 8 votes so far.
Okay.
Who is the best father-son duo in basketball right now? Is it Rick and Richard Pitino, or is it LeBron and Bronny James?
Is that the only two, or is there any other ones we can choose from?
That was the only 2 I gave you to choose from.
I'll go Patino. I love the Patinos. I think it's a great story. And I think the reason it is because unlike Bronny, the Patinos are the Rick's son is a really good coach. And him getting hired Xavier, I think that's a great hire and a great move for him. So I think that's a pretty easy answer. I know you probably thought I was going to go LeBron. You probably thought I was going to choose LeBron, didn't you?
Nah, no, I figured you would use your logic. I figured you'd be smart with your answer there. Number 2,
Diesel,
and I
Diesel,
caught a lot of flack for this one. As we see the Braves and the Padres playing right now, I caught a lot of flack for this one. I said that the Atlanta Braves starting rotation scares the daylights out of me. And everybody's like, oh, my goodness, calm down. Swellenbach will be fine. Sell will be fine. Strider's coming back, blah, 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 blah. Come on, people. Are y'all really that naive? That is not a playoff rotation, in my opinion. Not one bit.
Yeah, but JD, there's a long way to go until the trade deadline. You can always make moves. You can always add pieces.
What do you think the weak link is in that rotation? Just curious, JD.
All of them.
What's your name?
JD,
all of them.
Are you kidding me?
You're supposed to be a fan, and hope is supposed to spring eternal.
But that's a good.
Your hope is a dried up riverbed.
It's a good rotation.
Right. Yeah. Well, if anybody's learned anything about me, hopefully my negative comments will, spring eternal, as you just said. Hopefully my reverse psychology will work.
It did. It just worked. Literally just now. JD, It just worked.
Ozzie Albies went yard.
2-run, baby.
2-run home run to right field. The Braves retake the lead, top of the third.
Bang, bang. That's what happened.
See, look at you crapping on the Braves.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I hope they have a good year. I don't see them winning more than 90.
That's a great year.
I said more. No, I don't see them winning more than 90.
But you know where 90 gets you?
The playoffs?
Yeah. I'll take 90 all day. The playoffs?
No, I don't think they win 90.
Okay.
I think they're going to be 87, 75.
Okay.
86, 66, somewhere in that range.
I'm with you.
I don't see them being dominant. I really don't. And then one last thing, I'll let you guys run. Shut up, Dewey.
Oh, man.
And he just drops the mic on it.
Mic drop.
So your fandom goes game by game, Cole, with these
Pitch by
Braves.
pitch.
His goes pitch by pitch, swing by swing. We're going to be great. Oh, we suck. No, we're going to be great. Oh, we suck.
How about that, man?
Harris loops one into center field.
Let's go.
Braves
I like
on a little bit of a third inning rally with two outs.
Man. I like it.
I love it. Cole, I'm going to rant for a second today.
All right,
and this is just a quick rant, okay? And this is something that all of you behind the wheel need to be thinking about right now, okay? If you are turning any direction, you do not need to fade the opposite direction before you make that turn. There is a turn that I have to go to from Butler Road in
They have
Malden.
a trailer behind them?
No, yeah, turning left. Yeah, they're acting like they got a wide load or something here. Look, if you're turning left, you do not need to swing wide right before you make that left turn, because that means your dumbass is now pushing the car who's in the lane beside you over out of the way because they don't know what the hell it is you're trying to do. So stop turning right just to turn left.
I thought you were going to say, before we get back to the phone lines, when you turn, make sure you watch where you're going. That way you don't have to do a show by yourself.
Look both ways.
Right?
So
I thought
they
that's
say.
where you were going with that. All right, let's
get
go.
your eyes checked.
The Braves, by the way, lead 3-2 over the Padres. Michael Harris on first base. Drake Baldwin is at the plate. Let's go to Summerville, South Carolina, as we continue the Tolo takeover, as the phone lines are open. You got a couple of spots at 844-326-3663. Tom in Summerville wants to chime in on the Tolo takeover. Tom, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. Hey, so JD took my call. I was going to be all negative because the Braves are getting beat. But, you know, at the very end of his call, he may have just changed my whole outlook on the entire season. You know, the last 2 years, we've won a whole bunch of games, and we saw how that ended, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if we don't win 90 games, that's a good thing. Because in 2021, the Atlanta Braves only won 88 games in the regular season.
Yeah.
And we saw what happened. So maybe that's what the Braves need to do. The Braves just need to not win 90 games. They need to lose games on purpose so that way come in the playoffs, they're more focused, they don't win too much, and then they can go on a run.
Hey, Tom.
So it's a yeah.
Tom, I have a theory similar to yours that I thought of this morning. You ready for it?
Oh, yeah.
My theory is the Braves, Acuna is really not hurt. Strider's really not hurt. My theory is the catcher's really not hurt. The Braves are actually saving their best players because the very beginning of the season, I don't want to say it's pointless, but what matters is in August, September, the Braves players aren't hurt is my theory. They're just making sure that when the playoffs get here, they're not exhausted and fatigued.
Exactly. And honestly, I hope what they do with Sale is they kind of delay a few starts throughout the year because he's got to be healthy in the postseason if the Braves are going to do anything. But, it's very solid. You know, they're going to be a good team. It's simple. They just do not need to win 70 games before the end of August.
No, I agree with you.
Just take it easy. And, come October, we'll be healthy. And who knows, we might win another World Series.
And, Tom, stay your ass out of first place. You don't need a first-round bye.
That's right. I agree there.
You need to be playing meaningful baseball in the playoffs.
I like that. In late in the season. Yeah, I'm with you.
Exactly. And, hey, real quick on the Gamecocks.
Oh, boy.
If they can only limit Tennessee to 40 runs this weekend, that might be a win. That might be a win.
That'd be what? 40 divided by 3.
Victories. Is that where South Carolina baseball fans are? Moral victories on runs given up?
Oh my God. That'd be what? 13.3 runs per game.
Didn't they throw like 30 pitchers against North Carolina the other night?
No, 29.
Okay.
Yeah, 29. Thanks, Tom. We appreciate you, buddy. Let's go next to from Somerville. We go from Simpsonville to JD to Somerville, back to Greer, where Rick and Greer wants to join in on the Tolo takeover. What's on your mind, Rick?
I just got one thing to say.
What's your name?
I walked in a Walmart the other day, and I heard Dewey's voice.
What's your name?
And he was with a lady. Dewey, you look like Booger off of
Revenge of the Nerds.
Return of the Nerd movie. Dewey, you look like that Booger. I'm starting to call you Booger.
What is he talking about right now? What?
He says Dewey looks like Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh my God.
I met Dewey.
You met him.
Well, I never went up to him. I didn't have to. I could hear his voice all over Walmart.
I thought you met him at a family reunion, Rick.
No. But Dewey looks like Booger off of. So I'm gonna start calling him Booger. Okay.
God.
Bye.
Thanks, Rick. Did he said bye?
He just said bye and hung up on us, and now you can't let him get away with this. Dewey has called the show.
Yeah, Dewey's next.
Or Booger, as he's now going to be known from now on, Tolo Booger. Welcome to the show, Booger.
Yes. Well, I got to respond to everyone now. First of all, JD, I'm not even mad at you no more. You still suck. Rick, I don't even know what you're talking about, but I was in Walmart, and you probably did see me because I was going, all over the place, because that's just what I do. But at least I'm not dating my cousin.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
I learned that lesson.
Okay.
At least I'm not dating my cousin.
Anymore. Keyword.
Anymore. Yes. And JD, you suck. And Tom, you're my friend, and I don't have nothing bad to say about you. But
what about me, Dewey?
I'm glad you're okay.
He said if you didn't come to work today, you'd be fired.
Oh.
Yeah. That's good you came to work, because you would have been fired and Rob Brown would have replaced you. Speaking of him, he got offended again, and I got one thing to say to him. Your trophies, I got trophies too, and the only reason why you got trophies is because Mark Ryan's not here anymore to beat you. But that changes. But I'll offer a truce if you drop your bracket challenge on wire to wire, even though you're winning.
No.
He's not winning.
No, Rob Brown show is not leading the wire to wire bracket challenge. It is now a Tolo.
Oh, well, then he still needs to drop it.
Diesel.
But good that we're winning.
I mean, Dewey, who's better, the Armada Elitist or the Tolos?
Tolos.
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought about joining the Armada, but I'm not joining the Armada no more.
No, you wouldn't stoop down to that level.
No, that is a bad level.
That's right.
But yeah, he don't need to be so offended. And I don't even know what I did to offend him. He got angry.
Does he easily get offended, Rob Brown?
Yes, he does. And I'm just playing with him, and I almost feel bad, but I don't feel bad.
You shouldn't feel bad. Dewey, you're the best.
But
sorry.
Oh, I'm glad you're okay and you didn't get hurt and you came back to work so you don't get fired. and the person that hit you, I'm glad he's a nice person because I ripped into him yesterday. Now I feel bad.
Oh, right, Dewey?
And as for the Braves, they turned I agree with JD, even though he sucks. That the pitching staff needs to. They got to do something with that pitching staff, or it's going to hurt them come May. They're going to still get swept by the Dodgers probably, but they got the Marlins next.
Yeah, a lot of teams are going to get swept by the Dodgers.
By May, their pitching staff is going to be hurting.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call, Dewey.
Oh.
There it is.
There it is.
The
phone call's not over until you hear the.
That's right. That's like the click, right?
Yeah.
But Dewey was.
Inside the top 10, Cole, by the way, we have a Tolo in first, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Let's go.
We have 8 of the top 10, including first place, heel turn Tolo.
I love it.
Stephen Webb has turned heel on the Rob Brown Show, and he has joined the Tolos.
I think I'm with you on your theory, though. I think he was a Tolo the entire time, but just wanted to give that false sense of.
So he's a sleeper cell.
Yeah. And we didn't pay him. I mean, I didn't. Did you pay him to do that? I mean, I don't think
Not much. I mean, it's a radio salary. So
man, that's
Not
great.
much.
That's great. We're killing them. We're killing them. All right, we've got a couple of more minutes for any Tolos who want to get in on the phone lines. Brother C, I believe this was, who wants to get in next. Is that right, Brother Contreras? Is that you?
Yes, indeed, man. This is Brother Contreras.
What's up, man?
I did like a Tolo, man.
First time calling the show for Brother Contreras.
Yeah, let's go.
What's up?
Well, first of all, I'm still feeling great. And second of all, congratulations, Tolo. You're acting like freaky and like, I don't know what the hell is going on here. But first of all, I give it credit what Tolo was trying to say is this. He give it credit, but for me, I just have nothing to say.
You have nothing to say.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, I don't know. If the bracket challenge, I'm really in the
the bracket challenge.
stage,
I got you.
I mean, I know I did pay the St. John's deal. Like, I don't know. I just don't care.
Who was your national championship pick, Brother Contreras?
Well, at least everybody knows who it is. It's Double Devils.
Okay, I got you. I like that.
Love it.
That's a
good pick.
Right
Group
now,
flag,
looks
real
like
good.
a really good pick.
Well, it's true. I mean, here's the deal. Because I watch it all the time to freaking Double Devils as a supporter. But here's the deal. Cooper Flag is a legit heat. He is incredible when he passes all the way into Habits, when he shoots all the way to downtown. This is what I'm looking at this team with the coaches deal and the Cooper play. He's probably going to be the next top teams to be going into the draft.
I like it. I like it a lot. Hey, Brother Contreras, real quick, for the Tolos out there that don't know, where are you calling from?
Well, at least you know where I live. I live inside the Bronx, New York, near the Yankee Stadium, inside the South.
Let's go.
Oh, how are your Mets going to do this year, Brother Contreras?
Well, at least I'm not freaking Mets. Because I know everybody was thinking I would look like a Mets deal. I mean, hello, I'm not a Mets deal. I'm a Yankees guy. You probably know who. I mean, I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
well, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Thanks, Brother Contreras. We gotta drop the call because he's dropping 4-letter words.
Boy.
Woo! How about that?
That one got us going, didn't it?
Eyes got big.
Yeah.
Turn around, hit that
the
button.
dump button, and I don't know if it worked.
For those of you listening on the stream, you got the real thing. You got all
Brother
of it.
Contreras, great call, but not a great 4-letter. Funny stuff, though. Braves currently Diesel up 3-2, bottom of the third, 1 out.
Chris Sale's still slinging. He's up to 49 pitches.
Let him go, man. Let him go. Let's see what we got. And give him 5 innings, and I say let's pull him in the 5th. Give him 5, though. Let's see how good he is to start the season. Let's see how good this bullpen is.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can baby a guy like Chris Sale. You know, you can't rely on him only ever having to pitch 3 innings. You can't rely on 5 or 6 from him. So you got to really stretch him and see what he's got early in the season when you got time to make up if he loses ball games.
I don't know, man. I just I put way too much, I guess, not care, but going back to like what Tom was saying in JD, it's you try not to live and breathe on every single Braves win and loss early in the season, but I do. It's just, being a Braves fan, you want to win them all. You're not going to do that, but you want to win them all.
Shane Barrett says, "Welcome to the club,
what's your name?
Brother Contreras." It's a short but illustrious club who have dropped F-bombs on this show.
Did Shane drop an F-bomb? I thought it was.
Was it an S-bomb?
I can't remember.
It's been a while.
We've got time for one more in the Tolo takeover. He has come out from under his rock. Madcraft. What's up, Madcraft?
Hey, man, I just wanted to say that if you were to go into the stream and go up to the comments a little ways, you'll see a comment somebody left that said, I don't know why, but I have a suspicion that the Braves are going to go yard in the top of the third. Now, I don't know who said that, but that person certainly knows ball.
Was it you?
We were delayed, our television. You already saw it, so you commented it knowing that our broadcast was delayed by a few minutes is what happened.
Okay, right. This was a full inning before that happened, so you can go ahead and go do your timestamp.
Do you have tomorrow's lottery numbers, Madcraft, that I can buy off of you?
Hey, if I get a feeling, then I'll let you know. But I have a connection with the Atlanta Braves, okay?
Okay. What is your connection?
It's a feeling. That's what I'm telling you.
Oh, a feeling.
Like that,
okay.
I'm telling you. And when it happens, and I tell you, you go put money on it.
So where exactly do you feel it when you get these feelings?
Inside my bones.
I can't say that on the radio.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. What about the final score, though? Since you've had a feeling and got it right, what's the final score going to be today, Madcraft?
Well, I be honest with you. I'm thinking my 4-2 prediction is gonna hit pretty nicely.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Unfortunately, the Padres have just scored, and it's 3-3. So this is a false feeling.
Yeah. Thanks, Madcraft.
Hey, you put me on the spot. That wasn't a feeling that just came to me. This one was.
Right.
Appreciate the call, Madcraft.
Appreciate you. 3-3, just like that.
3-3, yeah. What happened here is Padres hit one right down the line, a screamer to first base. First baseman tries to throw home to get the runner, trying to score from third from his butt, misses the catcher. Ultimately going to be an error. He did. Olsen did get the out at first, so credit for that. But it did allow a run to come in.
Yeah, that's
Put him in a tough
play.
spot.
That's a tough play to make for even a guy like Matt Olson, who's as good with his glove as anybody.
I mean,
man.
that would have been a SportsCenter top play right there. If he had done that on opening day,
it'd be tough.
Yeah, throwing a guy out at home from his backside. When we come back, Cole, it's time to talk real baseball, and by real baseball, I mean fake baseball. I mean movie magic baseball. I've got my ranking of the top 5 baseball movies that all baseball fans should have watched before the season started, and I'm going to rate each one of those movies in the categories of the actual baseball in the movies. How much childlike fun can you have watching it? Off the field storylines in the movie and quotability. That's coming up next. got good baseball in San Diego with the Braves and the Padres tied at 3, top of the 4th, 1 out. McCall, do you like to get yourself ready for baseball season or football season by going back and watching your favorite baseball and football movies?
No, it's more music for me. Like, I'll listen to a song that gets me
listen
back.
to Put Me in, Coach.
Like I told you this, I don't think, I swear this is not a lie. I don't think I've watched a movie in 2025.
That's sad.
I really don't think I have.
That's sad. Sometimes I'll just wake up and put on a movie as soon as I wake up.
Man.
That's how I drink my coffee, yell at the dog.
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. I don't think I have.
No, I like, so every year, right before ski season starts, I go back and watch Out Cold, one of my favorite snowboard movies. I'll go back and find it. Yeah, well, does anybody get knocked unconscious? I don't think anybody gets knocked unconscious in the movie.
Okay.
One guy does get his you-know-what stuck in a hot tub jet, though. By the way, that somebody was Zach Galifianakis from North Carolina, believe it or not. He is. But Cole, I do know a lot of people do that. And the sad thing is we haven't had a lot of good sports movies come out in a long time.
The old ones are better.
The old ones are better. And I think maybe the last good sports movie, which I never saw, was The Blind Side. I know a lot of people really like The Blind Side. I never saw The Blind Side.
It's a good story.
So
tearjerker a little bit.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. I mean, before that it was probably Remember the Titans. Before that, Varsity Blues. But there have been no good baseball movies in a long time. There's probably hadn't been a good hockey movie since Miracle. And that movie probably came out 20 years ago at this point. They're just not making good sports movies
And you know
anymore.
what's bad is, for me, that's not a movie guy, one of the movies on your list I referenced before the show started, but I referenced the wrong one. I referenced the what? You said set. Was that? And by the way, that movie, you can't play any audio clips from. I don't know if you've seen the old one that I'm referencing that we'll get to in a minute. Billy Bob Thornton, every other word's a dump button. Did you just call the 2005 Sandlot, or not Sandlot, 2005 Bad News Bears with Billy Bob Thornton the old one? Did I have it backwards? That's the new one. New one, I'm sorry.
That's the new one because the original came out in 78, 79.
So, yeah, you're right.
And I grew up on the original Bad News Bears. So
I like Billy Bob, though, man.
I do like Billy Bob Thornton, but I think I watched the first 30 minutes of the new Bad News Bears and said, no, I'm out.
He's just a good actor. He's just funny. I don't know. It's just something about it.
Billy Bob Thornton and Bad Santa can't be touched. Cannot be touched.
Well,
but here are 5 movies, and you Tolos tell me if I've missed anything or if I'm wrong about my top 5 baseball movies that you should have watched before Major League Baseball opening day. The good news is, it really doesn't matter if you didn't watch them before opening day. You can go back and watch them this weekend.
They're still available to watch.
There's still time. There's still time. Just tune in and watch these movies anytime you want. Number 5 baseball list on my baseball movie on my list, Cole, is A League of Their Own. I love A League of Their Own. Not only was Gina Davis an absolute babe in that movie, and Madonna was a babe in that movie.
Tom Hanks too.
Tom Hanks was a babe in that movie. Yeah. But believe it or not, I think this is the only time that I can think of in any movie she's ever been in where I could honestly say I thought Rosie O'Donnell was good looking. You're gonna lose. Hits him in the face with a glove. Love that movie.
Just rocked him with a glove. Tom Hanks.
Use your head. That's that lump 3 feet above your ass. So A League of Their Own is my number 5 movie when it comes to baseball movies that you must watch.
Home Run Braves.
Early in the season. Home Run Braves. How about that? Who was it that went yard?
I don't know. I think it was
Austin Riley.
Austin Riley, yeah.
Austin Riley. No, A League of Their Own, I think of all of these movies that I'm going to list, I think A League of Their Own had the actual best baseball in the movie because, they played a lot. There was a lot of the storyline took place on the field. It ended with a play at the plate. I think it was a great movie.
It's a good movie.
A League of Their Own.
It's good. I like it. That was your 5?
That was my 5. Oof. Great. Probably the best baseball on the list. It was good on the childlike whimsy, because baseball is supposed to be a game for kids. And so I think you have to pay attention to the childlike fun in these movies. It was okay on the childlike fun, not the strongest there. Off the field storyline, I thought was absolutely fantastic. It was two sisters. One got all the credit, one got none of the credit, and they're going at each other over the course of the season. Tom Hanks's character was a war hero. Thank you very much. Quotability, not the strongest, though. Like, it's okay. It's okay.
Boo-boo.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just not the best on this list as far as quotability goes. Number 4 on my list, Cole, is Bull Durham. Bull Durham is the 4th best baseball movie I think you must watch as baseball season gets kicked off. Also really strong on the baseball. I think it was probably the best when it comes to looking at the off the field part of baseball, the trials and tribulations of minor league players and dealing with all that stuff. Quotability, solid.
Yeah, I think
it's really good. I think Bull Durham is a must watch. Bunch of lollygagging. You lollygagging the first. A bunch of lollygaggers. What does that make you, Coach? Lollygaggers. And then number 3 on my list, Bad News Bears, the original, the 1979-78.
I don't know about
Walter Matthau, Bad News Bears. Have you ever even seen it?
Yeah, I think at parts.
Come on, like Billy Bob Thornton. Wow, great. Is just ripping off Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau is the
It's just
GOAT.
old, you know.
Oh, come on.
It's old. Where is Angels in the outfield? In the
like 10th.
Oh my god.
It's like 10th.
No, it's not.
It's not even on my ORV list.
That's a bad list.
No, Bad News Bears is my number 3. The baseball there wasn't great. But childlike fun, the coach that didn't want to be there, so he's an alcoholic, a-hole, smokes in the dugout.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's great. It is good.
I thought it was good. But it wasn't realistic because there was just a lovable bunch of losers that had to come together and start a baseball team, and all of a sudden they find out we're actually really good at baseball by the end of the movie.
By the way, Ozzie Albies, after a single by Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies' single sends Olson to third. So the Braves, corners covered, runners on first and third, 2 outs in this inning, and they do have a 1-run lead over the Padres. It's the top of the 4th inning, 4-3, Braves lead, but one runner in scoring position, and this is big right here, man. Is that Ozzie or was that Ozuna? Maybe I was wrong on that on first base, but corners covered for the Braves.
We'll find the answer to that question once they come back from commercial break. Number 2 on my list, better than Bad News Bears, is The Sandlot, Cole. The Sandlot. It's part of being an American that you've seen The Sandlot. I don't trust you.
You said 2.
It is 2 on my list.
No, you meant 1.
I meant 2. It's a narrow 1-2 split here, okay? I wouldn't say 1A, 1B because everybody knows that 1B is actually 2. So Sandlot, number 2 on my list. The baseball isn't necessarily there. Right, the baseball isn't there, but it's a coming of age movie set around baseball, not a baseball movie set around a couple of kids coming of age. So the childlike fun is off the charts in the Sandlot.
Shane Barrett says you're saving your list with The Sandlot.
I love The Sandlot. But
it should be 1.
No, it shouldn't be 1. It shouldn't be 1. Not as a baseball movie. Like I said, the childlike whimsy is fun. Like with the pool scene and Wendy Peppercorn. Oh God, what guy my age didn't have a crush on Wendy Peppercorn? You had the giant dog, which was like gargantuan, the size of a house. Like when you were a kid, did you ever have that like area in your house that you were afraid of? That just like it felt like it was this huge, scary beast, when really it was just, I don't know. It was just the heat kicking on in the heat pump downstairs.
No, I didn't have that, but I love.
You didn't have heat?
No, didn't have heat. I just love Sandlot. It's Sandlot's number 1.
The childlike fun, the off the field story, all that stuff is a 10. The quotability is a 10. You're killing me, Smalls. There's just so many things that you can quote in The Sandlot. It's just nothing but quotes. But the baseball isn't quite there with The Sandlot. Not strong enough to make it number 1, the movie that you must watch every spring before baseball season. And it is the one, the only Major League with Ricky Vaughn, The Wild Thing. That movie is equally as quotable as The Sandlot. It's got a good off-the-field story with Ricky Vaughn trying to make his way onto a Major League Baseball team. What did he come out of the California Penal League and he made his way onto a major league team. He had his hair cut. He had the glasses with the skull and crossbones in the middle. I mean, he was a rock star. He was a rock star.
It's a good movie, but it's not one. One?
It's one. Major League is one. Ugh. Also on top of that, Rene Russo, total babe in that movie. Tom Berenger, he's not good enough for you, Rene Russo. You can do better. So I think Major League is one on my list. Right. Sandlot 2, Bad News Bears 3, Bull Durham 4, A League of Their Own 5. If I was going to do a 6 in the others receiving votes category, it would be Moneyball, because I love Moneyball. Great movie.
I like that one.
Killing me, Smalls. The Colossus of Clout. The Great Bambino.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many good quotes. So many good quotes, man. That's a tough one to beat.
But like as quotable as that movie is, Major League is there too. You trying to tell me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
I know. I just think growing up with Sandlot, I just think there's a special. It's like a special.
I grew up with Major League too.
Yeah.
But you probably grew up with the Sandlot Part 2, the fake one.
The fake one. You don't like that one?
The fake Sandlot. I never saw it. I refuse. I refuse to see some cut rate remake.
No, I think I did. Let me think. Sandlot. No, I'm pretty sure I saw it. I'm pretty sure I did. But, of course, the first one's the best.
Brother Contreras says, why are you not picking Bench Warmers? Because it's Bench Warmers. It's not even in the same league as these movies.
I agree with that, by the way. By the way, that was Ozuna that I thought was Albies earlier. Ozzie Albies is at the plate, top of the fourth still, full count, corners covered, 2 outs. And the Padres did bring in Matsui, a new pitcher.
JD, thank you. JD bringing in Roger Dorn, the storyline of Roger Dorn, of Ricky Vaughn hooking up with Mrs. Dorn after Mrs. Roger Dorn, after Roger cheated on his wife on television. Out at the wall. Out on the warning track. Could have been a 3-run homer for the Braves.
Oh, man, that was close.
Ooh.
That was close, Ozzie.
If that wall out there wasn't a foot tall, that would have gone yard. If that was a regulation size wall, I'm calling shenanigans. Grounds crew needs to be investigated in San Diego.
By the way, you see what I'm wearing on my opening day. Opening day, I'm wearing my Spartan burgers. How about that? Hub City, you like that? I caught this when we went into the gate.
Love it.
And you know how when you catch shirts, they're never your size. This one was actually extra large. Yeah.
Let's see here. Texter says, Trouble with the Curve was the most recent baseball movie I can think of. Never even heard of it, Texter. Trouble with the Curve. Texter says, I'm with Cole. Angels in the Outfield is top 2. Top 2.
Sandlot 1. Angels in the Outfield 2. That's it. That's the list.
Grow up.
That's the list. It's the
when
best.
you guys finally get out of diapers, let's talk about real baseball movies.
That's it. Angels, baby. It's Sandlot 1. Angels 2. That's it. That's your list.
Texter says Moneyball is just a story to stroke Billy Bean's ego. They had 3 Cy Young pitchers, an MVP, and a Gold Glove first baseman. But yeah, let's give all the credit to the scrub players and make the manager of the year look like a fat slob.
That's funny. That's funny.
Texter says the catcher in Major League 2 was pretty quotable. Women, you can't live without them, and they can't pee standing up. I love Major League 2. Major League 3 wasn't bad either.
Yeah.
It's not nearly on the list, but Major League 3 is not bad. But 2, excellent movie.
Tolos, we have to get to the top stories in sports. What are the headlines? What's happening? It's the Daily Wires. We'll tell you what's happening next. Every single day we take you through what's happening in the world of sports. It is our Daily Wires.
Bzz.
A lot going on, right? Or no sports going on. I mean, it's only MLB opening day. It's only March Madness Sweet 16 tonight. It's only a great day for sports fans. Atlanta Braves are underway. A very good one right now, Tolos. If you're not tuned in, you're missing out. A really good game as the Braves are up 4-3 in the bottom of the fourth inning, or end of the fourth inning now.
Don't sell it short, Cole. There's also a PGA Tour, the Texas Children's Houston Open.
Texas in Houston, that's right. The reason I know that is I was efforting Jacob Bridgman, who finished top 3 last week at the Valspar, who's from right here in the Upstate, went to Clemson, went to Chapman High School, texting back and forth with him last night or the night before last. And he said, look, I might can do an interview after my Pro-Am, but those things go long. So we'll see how it goes. It did go long yesterday, so obviously we couldn't get him on. But we're trying. We're trying. We're going to try to have some golf on here soon.
There's a 3-way tie for the lead between Hogard, Gerard, and Toasty at -5.
Toasty. Good old Toasty. Don't know who that is. Thursday, Sweet 16 matchups. BYU, Bama at 7:09. Maryland, Florida, 7:39. Arizona, Duke, 9:39. Arkansas, Texas Tech, 10:09, baby. I cannot wait. This is going to be a lot of fun tonight. The LA Sparks announced, didn't we guess the WNBA mask? Did you guess the Sparks correctly?
I would say the LA Wildfires.
Oh, man. The LA Sparks announced they will retire Candace Parker's number 3 jersey on June 29th. Tennessee alum will be the third Sparks player to have her jersey retired. That's pretty interesting. The third Sparks player from Tennessee to have their jersey retired.
Yeah, 30 years of WNBA, and you're just now getting your third player worthy of retirement.
How about that, man? How about that? The Dodgers are, no surprise here, plus 275 to win the World Series at ESPN Bet as of Thursday morning, making them the biggest opening day favorite since the 2002 Yankees, who were at plus 200. UConn coach Dan Hurley acknowledged there are things that I wish I didn't do, says Hurley, like keep the UConn job instead of the Lakers. No, I mean, he didn't say that. Expressing regret over making profane comments about the officiating after the loss to Florida. Diesel, I was supposed to open the show with you yesterday. I didn't, obviously, but did you talk about this with Dan?
I did open this. Look, the second part of this quote that you didn't get to.
Yeah.
He said normally this is an area that only players, coaches, competitors are allowed to be in. Somehow this reporter was in this area. Look, just because you're not used to somebody being in an area, just because you're used to groups of people not being there, doesn't mean that your director of communications gets to try to strong arm a reporter and say, take it down or I will F up your life.
No, that was, I believe, and again, I hadn't given my opinion on this yet because I wasn't here yesterday. That was wrong, what the communication, whoever it was.
Yeah.
That was wrong. Did Dan Hurley do anything wrong?
I got no problem with what Dan Hurley said. No, I got no problem with it whatsoever. He was emotional after a loss. Not an issue.
I don't either. But you know what? I don't think people would care. Even if there was a video, like, who cares? I mean, we don't like losing. Who likes to lose? I don't know. Buffalo Bills fans can look forward to a holiday treat with the announcement of a Hallmark movie collaboration featuring Bills safety Damar Hamlin, Holiday Touchdown. What? A Bills love story will debut as part of Hallmark's Countdown to Christmas, likely featuring cameo appearances from popular Bills players.
Ooh.
Well, this is weird.
So excited about that, especially because last year they put out a movie called Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story.
Ugh.
So it's almost like the Hallmark Channel makes crap movies and they just churn them out with the same stupid story over and over and over again. Churn and burn. Let's just replace one word in the title and nobody will notice.
Yeah, not a fan. Duke University is upset with HBO's White Lotus after a controversial scene involving a character contemplating suicide while wearing Duke apparel. I haven't heard this. In a statement, they said it'll create confusion and does not reflect their values.
You're not watching White Lotus?
No.
Oh, White Lotus is wild, dude.
I get though why they would be upset about that. Like I get it.
Yeah. The character.
Maybe don't wear.
He's a stressed out, like money management kind of guy, and he thinks about ending it all while wearing a Duke shirt, just like right there on the camera.
I get it. I do. Number 10, South Carolina softball, 25-6, set for a weekend at LSU. Gamecock to watch pitcher Jory Hurd, who leads the team in ERA, strikeouts, and wins. Clemson softball will host Cal this weekend. Tough loss yesterday, or Tuesday, I believe it was, for Clemson softball. They've outscored opponents 248-100 this season. Clemson softball sits third in ORV. And one more for you, South Carolina women's basketball. How about the Lady Gamecocks? Diesel will face, there's no T in face, by the way, Maryland in the Sweet 16, Friday, 5 p.m. We'll be able to watch it right here on Wire to Wire. I can't wait. You know I love the Lady Gamecocks, and excited to see if they can get past the Terps.
Earlier in the show, Cole, we had a fascinating conversation with Jay Paterno, son of Penn State legendary coach Joe Paterno. He is now a member of the Penn State Board of Trustees and an author of a brand new book called Blitzed, the all-out pressure of college football's new era. We talked with him earlier. If you missed it, this is great,
good,
man. Such a good interview. We're going to bring it your way next. They're going yard in Yankee Stadium. 3 home runs already in this Yankees-Brewers game. For Penn State University, we've got him in the background of our interview. We're just
looks
waiting
like
for
a
him
nice
to take the chair.
bookshelf
There he
has
is.
doesn't he?
He's popping his way in. We'll wait just a moment to get him in the stream as he's getting himself ready and getting himself situated. But man, for a sports fan, there's not a better day in sports, are there? We got Major League Baseball, we got Sweet 16 all in the same day.
Only 9 more minutes, Diesel, until the Atlanta Braves get this thing going to start the season. I know a lot of you Atlanta Braves fans out there are ready. I am as well. So 9 more minutes, and you Braves fans will be able to say opening day is here.
And there he is. He joins the stream. Jay Paterno, member of the Penn State Board of Trustees, son of Penn State legend Joe Paterno, author of Blitz, the all-out pressure of college football's new era, joining us to talk about House versus NCAA. Jay, number one, welcome to the show. We appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. But in an era where college football is now full of consequential changes almost every year, do you feel like this is ultimately going to rank as the most consequential change to college football?
Till the next lawsuit. I mean, look, I think this is the first step that has to happen, but pretty quickly there's going to be more steps that have to happen. I think this obviously schools are going to directly pay players. NIL is going to be brought in-house, so that stuff, schools will be arranging deals. But I don't think this lands anywhere near stability until you have collective bargaining. Their players are employees, and I'm an old school guy. I mean, this is not how I would wanted to see college football evolve into. But we got to be realistic about what we're doing. We're operating sports entertainment franchises on our campuses. The Big Ten makes $1.1 billion a year in television revenue. It's just one conference. We're not in Kansas. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is. I mean, let's be realistic about what we are.
You know, it's interesting, Jay. By the way, this is Cole. Appreciate you hopping on with us. Diesel and I have brought that up many times about collective bargaining and athletes becoming employees. We've gotten a lot of pushback from other guests, from listeners. The brightest minds in college football, I don't remember who it was just a couple of months ago, told us that was a crazy idea to have the athletes become employees. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and go into why you think that would be the best case scenario?
Yeah, I mean, to settle down the transfer portal, to settle down guys jumping around, the House settlement's going to happen. But if the next year the top quarterback in the country says, well, I'm not part of that. I'm not part of that class action suit, and I don't agree to that, and I want $7 or $8 million to go to your school, and a school says, I'm sorry, we're capped by this settlement, there's another lawsuit, and that lawsuit goes away. And until college football and college sports gets an antitrust exemption at the federal level, they're going to be subject to those lawsuits. And let's not even forget about Title IX. The minute the ink is dry in this, and 19 of the 18 or 19 of the million of the 20.5 a year goes to men's football and men's basketball, you're going to have Title IX lawsuits, and that's going to open up. So every lawsuit decision just sets up the next lawsuit.
Jay, one thing that's concerned me since I heard even the prospect of making college athletes employees of the universities is what happens when the day comes around that a football player or a basketball player who doesn't fancy himself going to college for school decides, I don't want to go to school. Like, I want to be an athletic-only representative of Penn State or Ohio State or Michigan or wherever it may be. Do you foresee a future where a quarterback says, hey, I didn't come here to play school. I came here to play football, and somehow sues, gets an exemption or something to basically remove the academic component of a requirement of being on that team?
Well, again, we should be honest about what we're doing.
Yeah.
If there is if somebody wants to go to a trade school, okay, and learn how to weld or do those kind of things, there's nothing against that. If somebody wants to come here and say, you know what, I'm going to major in football and I'm interested in preparing myself for a career in the NFL. Again, I'm a purist. I hate this idea, but let's be realistic. When you look at grad transfers right now, they're just rentals. And a lot of those guys aren't spending 1 minute in an actual classroom. A lot of players aren't they're all on online classes. I have a book on my bookshelves called Touchdown it was written by Amos Alonzo Stagg in the late 1920s. And at that time, schools like Harvard, Yale, Princeton had football teams that were just guys they paid to play football. Now, they were supposed to be students, but they weren't enrolled. So this is not new. This is, every time somebody thinks we've come across something new in history, you go, no, this happened back then. And so, we're at that critical juncture. We got to make a decision. There's the guy used to tell me a joke all the time. He said, a woman goes into confession with a Catholic priest, and she says to the priest, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. I had sex with a man who was not my husband for $100,000. And the priest says, well, would you have done it for $10,000? She said, well, what kind of person do you think I am? And he says, we've established what kind of person you are. It's just what's the going rate. And that's kind of where college sports is right now.
Yeah.
And so if somebody says, I want to be a apprentice to the NFL, at some point, let's take the money, the scholarship money we would have given that guy and give it to somebody who really wants to go to college and let them use it.
We're joined by Jay Paterno right here on the Fan Upstate in the upstate of South Carolina. Jay, can you go into how much a guy like you who's on the board of trustees at Penn State has with involvement in the decision makings and the hearing coming up in April?
We don't have a whole lot of it. We're mostly informed on it, but because I've been consulting in NIL and because I coached for 20 plus years in college and that kind of stuff, I've had a lot of input in terms of on the board of trustees and in terms of people saying, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? When we redid James Franklin's contract in November of 2021, one of the things I said to them is you guys really should put a clause in there that when revenue sharing kicks in, this is November of 2021, when revenue sharing kicks in, you ought to have an out to renegotiate this thing because you're going to have to find, at that time, I said maybe 25 million in revenue sharing that you're going to come up with. Because right now, when you look at our athletic department budget, we are right at the break-even point. And in a matter of months, we got to come up with $20 million. So this is not going to be an easy lift for anybody. But we did not put that clause in there. But if you look at Texas A&M, they put some of those clauses in their contract. So actually, not to pat myself in the back, but I will. But I mean, this is one of those things I told them was coming.
Jay, when I think about, the $20.5 million, and you just said it, that programs are going to have to figure out where to come up with it. I think about a lot of the programs that are not operating with Big Ten media payouts, with SEC level media payouts, and I think about those schools that have a lot of winning tradition, but have always had to kind of do more with less. In your mind, what thought process has been put into ensuring that those programs that are, also important to the fabric of college football can stay solvent and even stay operational?
I don't know. There's been enough thought process to quite frankly with you. And when you look at what we have allowed to happen in terms of staff, the size of staffs, the salaries. I mean, you think about you have head football coaches that are making 10% of total revenues in their program. That's not 10% of net profit or whatever you want to call it. There are very few business models anywhere in the world where one employee is going to make 10% of every dollar that comes in the door. So, you have massive, we've gone from roughly 33 people that were employees around a football program just a decade ago to where you're 85, 90 people working around a football program. So how many analysts do you need? How many consultants do you need? How many coaches do you need? It's the same number of guys on the field. There's 11 players playing 11. Now you need so every university is going to have to sit and probably do an honest assessment as to what do you actually need to run your program rather than what do you want? Because just because Ohio State has 12 analysts, does Clemson need them or does Penn State need them or whatever it may be? And, I think, one of the guys I think that's going to be really interesting to watch is Dabo Swinney, who's down your way, because he's taken a very different approach. You look at them at the end of the year last year, they were a pretty good football team. They developed into a good football team. And I'm rooting for the guy because I think he's trying to do it a very different way.
Jay, it's interesting you bring Clemson.
And by the way, I started my coaching career at UVA, so that's hard for me to say anything about Clemson.
Well, I wanted to piggyback off of that, Jay. What were your thoughts on a guy like Tom Allen, right? Coming to Clemson as the defensive coordinator from up your way, a big coaching change. A lot of people call it a lateral move, and, it's a big get for the Clemson Tigers, who you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think Tom will do a great job. I think Tom did a really, really good job here. I know he's got family down that way, and I think he is a very I didn't get to know him real well, but he's a very religious guy, and I know Dabo and he are really kind of, as Italians say, there's simpatico in that relation, that department. So I think he just felt like maybe it's a better fit for him or whatever. But Indiana is still paying him, so no matter where he goes, I think Indiana was paying him $7.75 million last year. We were paying him 1.5, so he was doing pretty well. I don't know what Clemson's paying him. I think they gave him a little bit of a raise, but I think he'll do a really, really good job there. Really, when he was in Indiana as the head coach, they had some really good defensive football teams, and he didn't have the kind of talent that he had at Penn State, and or that he'll have at Clemson. Clemson's always the last several years had really good pass rush guys up front, tough defensive tackles. Clemson right now, I think that's a team that can really do a lot of damage in the ACC, and I think with the 12-team playoff, I look at that as a team that should make the playoff and have a really good run.
Talking to Jay Paterno here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, author of Blitzed, the all-out pressure of college football's new era. Can you tell us a little bit about the book? And as you were in the process of researching and writing, I know all authors who put together books like this discover things along the way that maybe they hadn't previously considered. Can you do a little deep dive on the book?
Yeah.
And reveal some of the surprises?
Well, I don't want to reveal too many of them because I want people to read it. But, I wrote a book about my dad back in 2014, and then I started to write a book about all the things I had experienced in college coaching. And I was going to write it as nonfiction. Then I realized, well, you're going to get lawyers involved. And when you start telling these stories, somebody may blow your car up. There's some of that stuff in there. So that book was called Hot Seat. It was set at Ohio State, and basically the coach loses a bowl game, loses to Michigan at the end of the year, and he's told he's got 1 year to win or else. So it took you through all that. Then now with NIL and the transfer portal and the current age that we're in now, having consulted with a group that works with schools all over the country, I've got a lot of feedback, a lot of stories that have come back. So it's really nonfiction fiction. So when you read it, it's set at Ohio State again. It's set with all these stories being, quote, fiction, but they're all, these are all based on real stories going on in real time. And you'll see the pressures that are on these coaches 24/7, the pressure that are on these kids and the mental health issues that they're dealing with because of the pressure to compete on the field and get as much money as they can and deal with NIL or maybe transfer because there may be more money. You have a whole different world now where there are women in this workplace now as coaches, as analysts, and how do coaches deal with those kind of pressures. And you deal with all those things changing so rapidly for a college coach. And by the way, still has to win. And by the way, the kids, this is one thing no one talks about. The players are still supposed to go to class and get a degree on top of making money in NIL and doing all that stuff and playing. So all these things come into play. So this is a very real behind the scenes. If you want to know what it's like inside a college program right now, this is the first real tell-all book. And because it's quote fictional, I can be very honest without worrying about somebody blowing my car up or suing me.
Jay, it's interesting. You were one of the first consultants when NIL was born, I guess, right? Yeah. Let's just use that. So you've been around NIL, and I would assume more on the football side, but when you hear things like 1,250 men's college basketball players have entered the portal, and the season's not even over. We're still in March Madness, right? And the Sweet 16 beginning tonight. What is a guy who's has heavy involvement in what's going on with NIL and the portal? What's your reaction to hearing something like that?
Well, the tough thing is not all of them are going to land someplace. And the other tough thing is if you're a high school player coming out, if you're not a Cooper Flagg type level player, which I shouldn't use him, he's on his own level. But if you're not one of those top 100, top 300 guys, schools are going to start looking for that transfer guy before they come to recruit you out of high school. And then when you talk about the roster limits that are now going to be in place, where most teams like a Penn State or a Clemson would have 120 guys, 125 guys in their roster. Now that's going to be limited to 105. So now there's 20 guys that get freed up by these schools that now that comes into play. I think that's why I think that the collective bargaining and all those kind of things really have to come into play. So now you can kind of settle down the labor market force, so to speak, as well as get these windows into parameters that make sense. We had a quarterback here at Penn State, Bo Pabula, who transferred right before the playoff. And he was a guy who had been playing and coming in and doing some like wildcat type stuff and making some plays. And, if we had him, we may have had a different result in the semifinal against Notre Dame if he had come in and done a couple of things that he'd done. So I think it's got to settle down, but there's got to be an overarching rule that is agreed to by everybody, or again, you'll end up in court.
Jay, whenever there's a massive change in a sport like this, I always like to, consider the cause and effect. And a lot of people think this is the cause that will lead to effects, and it certainly will. But imagining that this is the effect, that the $20.5 million that will have to be revenue shared to athletes, if we look backwards 10, 15, 25 years, do you believe if the NCAA hadn't been as rigid as they had been up until this decision started picking up some steam, that if all of this could have been avoided if they had said, okay, college athletes, we'll let the school pay you, your scholarship, and you'll get all of the things that you would get for free with your scholarship, and we'll give you $2,500 a year. Could this have been avoided without it getting as large as it has so quickly?
I don't think there's any question about it. I think when California passed the law a couple of years ago, everybody just felt like, oh, this will go away. I mean, I can tell you just internally in discussions we had as trustees, it was like, well, that's really not going to happen. That's our athletic director at the time, president at the time, were saying, the people at the NCAA say this isn't going to happen. And I'm just sitting there going, I'm telling you, you guys we ought to figure out where we land this plane. And I think there's a parallel as it relates to, which really kind of sets us up to where we are. Back in the 1980s, the Supreme Court took the television rights away from the NCAA and deregulated them. So at that time, a number of schools nationally, Penn State was among them, we were still an independent at that time, got together with a number of conferences, Notre Dame, whatever, and they put together a national television package that was more equitably distributed the money among all the schools. So schools like USC could stay in the Pac-10 or Pac-8 or Pac-12, whatever it was back then. And so everybody kind of stayed put. Well, that was all because some people got together with leadership on a national level and landed that plane. That, to this date, has not happened at the NCAA level as it relates to all this. So I think there's no question that we'll look back on the last 2 or 3 years as an opportunity missed. And these are kind of lost years. And I think the reality is this. The COVID year was an eye-opener in terms of you had students, football players on campuses that were quarantined from everybody else so they could keep playing games through COVID. And the reason was we needed the TV check. But if Penn State and Clemson were to play next year and the players from Penn State and Clemson all walked off the field right before the game, we're not going to stick around and watch, Dabo Swinney and James Franklin play cornhole. Now, they may be great. They may be the best cornhole players in the country, but you're not going to get 110,000 people to stick around and watch them play cornhole, and Fox Big Noon Kickoff is not going to stick around to watch that. So the players in that COVID year started to realize, wait, without us, people coming to see us play. And it's true. I mean, look, nobody comes to watch people call plays. They come to watch the guys make plays. And that's where we're at. And that's why the players now have a lot of leverage right now.
Hey, Jay, I wanted to ask you an off-script question here. A couple of days ago, we had audio of Rick Pitino. You mentioned being an Italian, right? A fellow Italian-American in Rick Pitino, who we just watched last Saturday clash with another one in John Calipari, a great game between St. John's and Arkansas. With you being an Italian, your dad born in Brooklyn, kind of like Rick Pitino, I believe.
Yep.
What were because this audio we played on the show the other day was Rick Pitino ranking his top 5 Italian dishes. What would be Jay Paterno's top 5 Italian dishes?
Oh, my God. I'm going to get in trouble. all of them have to be made by my mom.
Good answer.
And she's not Italian, but she learned it pretty well. But eggplant Parmesan, love it. Cannot get enough of it.
Wow.
That might be 1 through 5 for me. I mean, honestly, it is. I mean, a great pizza is obviously up there. I'm a big red sauce guy. I'm not one of these Alfredo guys. Gnocchis, I'm not a big fan of. I mean, the pasta's but you get a good plate of sausage and meatballs and peppers, and you get a good eggplant Parmesan. I mean, I'm just happy as can be. And it's in all the towns I recruited, I started to find out where the hometown places were. And, there's still a place in Youngstown, Ohio. Every time I'm driving on I-80 out there, I stop in and get plates of food there. But, yeah, there's no question that Italians, we do food right. But I will say this. I've learned to smoke meats and mess with barbecue sauces because I did spend some time in the South. What's the name of this? Oh, God, there's a place it's got the lighthouse down your way. The drive-in place.
Beacon? The Beacon?
Yes, the Beacon. Yes, been there. Oh, yeah.
No way. The
Beacon
is probably, 20 miles from where we sit right now? If that, yeah.
And I've been to Maurice's Piggy Park in West Columbia with the mustard sauce.
Yeah.
Those two groups of people, the Southerners and Italians, eat better than anybody else in this country by far.
I like
That's funny, Jay.
And I'd probably weigh about 30 pounds less if I didn't indulge. That's about, but some things are worth it.
Jay, I'm not Italian, but I did spend a couple of months living in New York City about 15 years ago. Carroll Gardens, the name of the neighborhood, if you know Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn, right off Smith Street in downtown Brooklyn. I want to ask you one more question. It's a little bit off topic from your book as well. I worry about what happens if the power conferences eventually decide they're going to break away and do their own thing. We're having a not dissimilar situation here in the state of South Carolina where the state government is interested or looking at maybe pulling away control of running the high school leagues here and making it a state-run institution rather than a self-run institution. What in your mind is the plan, or is there a robust enough plan in place right now if power conferences do choose to break away that they can govern the totality of what college football is? Or do you anticipate they're going to be kind of a deer in the headlights, like, oh, we thought this was a good idea, and now we actually have to build out a robust governance structure?
They're trying to build out a robust governance structure right now. The question is, can they do it fast enough by July 1? I don't think they can. I think it's one of those things that sounds good on paper, but it's coming. They're going to break away. Everybody's kind of made their mind up that that's coming. I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. I think the more people that can play at the highest level, the more the healthier it is for the sport nationally. But I think that's coming. But I like you said, I'm not sure they can get it right soon enough. And again, once you put those rules in place, somebody's going to sue you. I mean, you need antitrust protection right now. I think probably what's best for college sports is that the schools that play football at a certain level kind of break away, because football is different than all these other sports. When you look at women's volleyball, you look at all, USC is coming east how many times to play women's volleyball. Stanford and Cal are coming east to play baseball and football and, all these other sports. It doesn't make any sense. And so if football is going to kind of drive this bus, if you kind of remove that from the equation and then the ACC goes back for all the other sports into what they're used to, that's probably a healthy solution for all this. Because everybody looks at, it's great for football to have these great, interesting matchups. But at the end of the day, it's not good for all the other sports. I mean, USC's baseball program has been great, but they're going to be in West Lafayette, Indiana in March, and it might be 38 degrees and snowing. It's not what they signed up for.
Jay, fantastic stuff, man. We really appreciate you taking time to join us today. Really enjoyed it, as always. We love keeping up with you and appreciate you. Hope we can do it again soon sometime.
Anytime, man. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much. Jay Paterno right here on the Fan Upstate is where you heard him, where you watched him. If you missed any of that, you can go back and listen on the free Odyssey app, Audacy. That's how you can go back with the rewind feature and watch anything or listen to anything you missed right here on the Fan Upstate. Diesel, I meant to bring this up during the Tolo takeover, which, by the way, was today at 5 o'clock. If you missed it, you can go back and listen to it. It was pretty good today.
Tolos didn't disappoint.
No,
except for
good.
Dewey.
Except for Dewey, yeah. All you have to do is download the free Odyssey app, AUDACY. Once you download that, you search the Fan Upstate. And then, once you do that, you can see the different shows. The Rob Brown Show, which is great. Rich Eisen, all the shows on this station. And us, Wire to Wire. He's Diesel, I'm Cole Bryson. And once you click on that, you will see chapters. So you'll be able to go back and listen to any segment that you want to on the free Odyssey app. So many different ways to listen, watch. There are a good many of you right now on the stream where you can not only listen to the show, but watch the show. Maybe you just got off work and didn't know that. But, yeah, Wire to Wire is watchable. Well, that's debatable. But it is live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube every single day. Diesel, I wanted to touch on this earlier but didn't get to. It is just absolutely awful what's happening in an area that was just impacted greatly back in September by the hurricanes. We have these wildfires, and I know a lot of people in the upstate could see smoke in the sky yesterday when the wind was really, really bad. Somebody in Greenville, a meteorologist, even had like some ash, debris, kind of falling out of the sky, almost like snow. So it's absolutely terrible what's going on. I did see a post from Chris Justice where, oh man, Padres just tied it up.
Yep.
Solo shot to center field.
And Michael Harris almost had it, almost robbed the home run. He went up to rob it. It was about a foot over the wall, and he misjudged his jump, and his glove completely missed it.
That sucks. Anyways, I saw a post from a meteorologist saying I think we're going to get some rain maybe Sunday, but there are a lot of people who we're friends with and family with and up in that area, man. I've seen pictures on Facebook that are just startling with these wildfires. They're too close to home,
Yeah, we don't get these here.
Mm.
It just doesn't happen here where we have this amount of prolonged dryness. And, I'm sure small little wildfires pop up here and there, roadside fires, but they're usually able to get a control of it pretty quickly. I feel partially responsible for this, Cole, because I brought a buddy to South Carolina who found my old, now shut down fishing YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And he was living in Colorado at the time. And he moved him and his wife to the Table Rock area.
Did he start the fire?
I don't know if he started the fire, but it's always burning since the world's been turning. Mm. But he and his wife had to evacuate their house. He went up there. He said he went up there yesterday. The house was still okay as of yesterday, but it's scary to have that happen.
It's awful, man.
I said, man, this is literally wild because it doesn't happen here.
And you know what? It doesn't happen here. We said that in September. We don't get hurricanes here like that. We got a hurricane. It was devastating, right? Especially to western North Carolina, devastating here as well. And then now with wildfires, it usually doesn't happen. And sadly, we're able to say that, that just doesn't happen here. A buddy of mine sent me a picture of his parents' house in Brevard, and they could see the mountain over, the fire coming their way. And that's Diesel. I think that's what's most scary. I mean, I saw a post on Facebook today with someone asking, do you think the upstate's going to have to be evacuated? I don't think so. I hope not. But they're spreading, man. It's just terrible.
I saw a wild video earlier today of a plane that drops like a chemical fire retardant.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it looks like a passenger plane, right? It looks like a plane that you might ship, packages, parcels across the country.
Sure.
And it just comes in low over these mountains real slow.
Yeah.
And just drops, probably several hundred yards of this fire retardant down onto the ground and just slowly makes its way back out of the canyon. And I can only imagine, Cole, how many of those little strafing runs that those pilots have had to make to try to put this chemical retardant down and blanket as much of it as they can.
I've seen a lot of those videos as well of the planes and the helicopters picking up water and then dumping the water. And it's just – and for all of those out there who may have family or friends or anything like that who may know someone who's fighting this thing, man, just hats off to him because it's absolutely terrible what's going on. To give you a quick scoreboard update and what's happening around the Major League Baseball opening day, we'll do it. There have been a couple of games go final already. The Yankees beat the Brewers 4-2. Cha-ching, Cole. The Orioles demolished Diesel, the Blue Jays 12-2, and the White Sox got a win over the Angels 8-1. Those 3 games have gone final. The Yankees are going to be really, really good this year, as you can imagine. Phillies Nationals tied 3-3 in the top of the ninth. How about that one? That's a good one right there. Also, top of the ninth, the Red Sox leading the Rangers 5-2. Top of the eighth, the Pirates lead the Marlins. Please hold on, Pirates. I need you. 4-2 there. In the bottom of the ninth, the Giants lead the Reds 6-4. Top of the 10th, how about a little extra inning baseball, Diesel, on your opening day?
Love it.
Cleveland, Kansas City, 4-4. And our boss is a Kansas City Royal fan, right?
Mm-hmm, he is.
A Royal fan. I mean, I don't know who else. He might be the only Royal fan. I've never met a real Royal fan except for him. But the Royals Guardians tied 4-4, top of the 10th. Bottom of the 8th, Astros are leading the New York Mets. That's always good to see, right? Anytime the Mets can lose. Top of the 3rd, Cardinals lead the Twins 3-0. And then the Braves, obviously the game we're watching. Bottom of the 7th, Fernando Tatis Jr. is at the plate. Neris is your new pitcher for the Braves. He's thrown 15. By the way, Chris Sale had a pretty good day. He got through 5. A rough first inning, Diesel, where he threw 30-something pitches and allowed 2 runs, but a pretty good day from Chris Sale. I mean, they led, I don't think let them get the 90 pitches, but the Padres trying to take the lead now as it's, let's see here. 7th inning, bottom of the 7th, full count to Tatis. It's 4-4, and hopefully the Braves can have a little late inning magic. But Tatis, one of the best players in the game. It's going to be hard here. It's going to be hard. Tomorrow's game, by the way, 9 p.m., Braves-Padres. They just showed that on the screen there. Let's see. See if they can get Tatis out. I don't know. He's tough.
Yeah, still a long way to go, though. Bottom
Still
of the 7th.
a long way to go.
You can come around the lineup the rest of the way and get everybody one more go around. And look, the game's tied. And you know, you were down on this team before the season even started, and thought that they were going to start on a 7-game losing streak. But this shows right here that they are competitive with really good teams in baseball. So I think there's a lot to be taken out of this.
There's hope. Oh, by the way, quick programming note. Tomorrow, we did not have time to touch on it today because Utolos, JD, I'm including you here. I'm talking to you. You all know I'm a big LeBron fan, and we didn't get to LeBron's appearance on Pat McAfee. Was that yesterday, I believe
that was yesterday. It was recorded, I think, on like Monday or Tuesday.
So
and then they aired it on Wednesday, but they were starting to drop the teasers for it.
Sure. So I think what happened was what day is today?
Today is Thursday.
Okay, last night, Wednesday, the Lakers were in Indianapolis playing the Pacers. By the way, they won on the LeBron James tip-in at the last second. So that would have been – I think what happened was I think Tuesday night, Diesel, they recorded it before the game, obviously, on Wednesday when the Lakers got into town. I think it was recorded late Tuesday night. So it was really good. I enjoyed it. We'll get into that tomorrow, though. We'll get into it.
Yep. Let's see. The Braves are in a little bit of a pickle. Let's see. Who is this batting?
Come on, Snitker. Help us out here, Snitker.
Pushes one in the gap between second baseman and actual second base.
Pull him.
Snitker is pulling the pitcher, and the new guy's going to come in with runners on first and third on opening day. When we come back, Cole, a millennial, or maybe she's Gen Z, a Gen Zer thinks she has figured out the perfect hack for always getting a free breakfast in New York City.
Oh, wow.
We'll listen to her take on exactly what she does and beg the question, is she a bad person? That's coming up next. Alex Anthopoulos should have known not to bring in a pitcher from the Cubs. Hector Neris leaves his team in a lurch. Gives up 3 hits, no outs. And the Padres have just taken the lead. Aaron Bummer brought in to try to minimize the damage.
Yeah,
but
this game's
they're in trouble now.
This
Down 5-4, bottom of the 7th.
We're done.
So Cole, this piece of audio here, I want to find out if you think this woman is a bad person or if she's figured out one heck of a life hack. Now, she is based out of New York City. She is in New York City, but you could do this in probably any major metropolitan city, and it would work equally the same. Here is her method that she has figured out for getting a free breakfast.
Don't need to twist my arm. I got a lot of comments saying that you can get away with this if you're a person of color, and I didn't mean to say that you couldn't. Baseline, it's just easier when you're white. But if you're not white,
Weird to
here are
talk
some
about.
tips on
What
how to
is
get
she
your breakfast. It's key to research beforehand. Know the layout of the first floor of the hotel that you're going into and go to the elevators first. Look like you belong there, but also look like you don't need to be there. Like it's an inconvenience for you to be there. Piggybacking on that, just look so busy, be on the phone, that people feel bad talking to you. Someone mentioned a clipboard goes a long way. I love that. Y'all, this is about to be a series. I'm already planning where I'm going for breakfast next week. For my white friends who are following this hack, please grab stuff not for yourself. The pre-wrapped bagels and fruit, especially if you're in New York City. People always need food. Take some for.
So
this is what's wrong with
So this lady, pulling her own version of Ocean's 11, maps out the downstairs area of hotels that she knows has free continental breakfast. She goes in. She looks like she's, in a hurry, like so nobody will mess with her. Looks like she's working on her phone or something about a clipboard there. And then she just goes and makes herself and helps herself to a free continental breakfast. But realizing that she's doing something wrong, she says, make sure you grab something for someone else. So not only is she stealing for herself, she is stealing for other people and claims that she's come up with a life hack.
Yeah, life hack. That's called go get a job. That's called get off your lazy butt and go get on the treadmill, you fat. I mean, I've watched her videos before. That's why I've watched her videos.
Yeah, it's more like Ocean's 1,100 calories because she's a big lady.
She needs to quit. How about go steal a treadmill instead of stealing some breakfast? I mean, that's what's wrong with the world. What's wrong with the world right there. We feel like, oh, it's a hack to go steal.
She fancies herself Robin Hood. Like, I'm going to go eat myself a free breakfast, and I'm going to steal a free breakfast for somebody else.
A hack. Maybe she's the hack.
Yeah, she is the hack.
I mean, come on.
I mean, also, if you're going to commit a crime, and I assume this is a crime, because,
it's
a crime because you are stealing food. You didn't pay for the hotel room. Like they don't just put it out there for anybody to come and eat it.
Right.
It is for patrons of the hotel who have. It's a hotel room in New York City, so it's probably like $500 a night.
Yeah, at least
it is a $4 breakfast for people who spend $500 a night on their hotel room. Like, come on, lady. Look, I get that the hotels are probably going to throw away a lot of the uneaten breakfast.
Yeah,
they're probably not going to always serve 100% of the food that they make. Brother Contreras, this person is in your city.
Yeah.
She is out there walking among you. She's in New York City, going into hotels that she's not staying at, planning out her attack, and
she probably doesn't have a job.
Food. Oh, of course not.
She probably doesn't think that, we should get on her for that. She's probably a softie and doesn't, the comments offend her, and she she gets offended easily and has pink hair. I mean, oh my God.
I mean, I'm going to be real with you, Cole. New York City is the thing that convinced me to never give a homeless person money.
Yeah.
And that sounds bad because, I feel bad for people who are down on their luck. But I know for a fact that some of the people out there panhandling in New York City are fake. They're fake. They have houses. They have money. And
probably have more money than we do.
I've even seen YouTubers out there say, I'm going to go panhandle for a month in New York City and see how much money I can make. So,
again, that's what's wrong.
They go out and they spend money that probably mommy and daddy gave them 100%. To go buy raggedy clothes, to go sit on the street somewhere and ask unsuspecting rubes to give them their money. which sucks.
Does that not make you just
Yeah.
like again, not to get on a tangent here. I think this country is so full of amazing people. We have there's a song I've referenced many times. It's called "Most People Are Good." I do believe most people are good people, but there's people like that just make me sick.
Losers.
Make me sick.
Losers is the answer to that
I'm
question.
going to show y'all a life hack, and I'm going to go steal people's food and post it on the internet.
Does she not think that people who work in hotels have TikTok and watch her videos and look out for this idiot who's walking around? You know, she looks like a slob. She's about 100 pounds overweight. She's easy to spot. I mean, if you found her TikTok videos, you'd easily be able to recognize her. And she's the idiot out there posting her crimes on social media.
Sad.
What is up with Gen Z being so stupid that they commit crimes and post the videos online?
But
saying, here's who I am. Here's me showing you that I've committed crimes, and I'm going to keep committing crimes. So come and get me, coppers.
The bad part is it's celebrated. It's celebrated. It's like, she's so smart. I'm going to go down as a trend. No. Go get a job.
Dumbasses.
Go, yeah. Tell them, dude. Hey, tomorrow's Friday, Tolos. It's a Friday. We'll be here. You be here as well.